Rabbit came to murk that fool, murk him for the bounty. Adol died, Adol sighed, Suv call your man in accounting.
It is February 27th, 2020. This is Loose Screws. I am your host, Ty Worsham. With me this evening is my standard issue co-pilot, Kai Zen. How's it going there, Bubba?
Fantastic, brother. How you doing?
Man, as you always say, I'm flying fucking spaceships. So
Yes, sir.
it's a good day. With
Yes,
us
sir.
this evening also is our audio engineer and walking, talking badass, JN Trax. How's it going there, man?
It's all right. Flying
Damn.
spaceships.
Damn, Kyle, you popping a top already, man?
That was me.
Oh, was that you?
I mean, mine's already popped, brother.
Yeah, I saved it for the start of the show.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So I'm going to start with Trax because we got a pretty big thing coming up. What is it? Tuesday it's coming up?
That's correct.
Oh,
Less than
okay.
7 days, people.
7 days. Yeah, that is the Distant Screws expedition. It's the first expedition done by the Loose Screws people. We are going to Colonia and Sagittarius A. And we're doing a great big lead out on... See, we're leaving out from LHS 317. Is that right?
That's correct.
Leaving out from there, we're going to do a great big, everybody goes to warp. We're going to probably live stream it or film it. And then we're going to like take screenshots and hugs and stuff. And then we will leave out from there. So that's going to be the launch point. What time are we actually heading out?
So I'm going to start. Well, so my regular streams are going to be Tuesday nights at around 7:30 my time is when I can usually get down to it. So that is, I had set the expedition to start at 1 a.m. because it wants UTC, and I am UTC -5. So that means it's going to start. The EDSM aspect of it is going to start before anybody actually needs to jump anywhere, so that the waypoints all count and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm planning on it being, Eastern time zone. I'm going to be in there and starting to stream kind of like episode 1 at about 7:30. I think we'll probably tool around for a while and see what kind of crowd we can gather before we initially take off. And then that night, on that episode 1, I'm planning to go all the way as far as Eagle Sector, where Eagle's Landing is, which is a little over 7,000 light years on that first day. But that's the time wise, it's not, I'm not going to hold anybody down to the minute, but just see who we can get there and then who we can, what kind of show we can put on for screenshots and stuff.
Right. And this is actually a full-blown expedition on EDSM. So you can go there, you can sign up there.
It's official now.
Does the tiny URL still work?
Actually, the tiny URL takes us to, well, that should still take you to the route, which is sort of unneeded now since I've totally replaced it with the official expedition. But if you actually go to EDSM and click on the expeditions tab, so that's edsm.net, the expeditions tab, it's right there at the very top on the right side. Distant Screws Expedition, which looks kind of funny because it says from LHS 317 to LHS 317. But we're going all the way out and all the way back. So we're covering almost 79,000 light years.
We're screwy, bro. That's how we do.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to get real screwy up in the galaxy.
I think we missed a pretty good opportunity because you pointed out to me, I think yesterday, that a lot of people have been calling this deep screws. And man, I think we missed an opportunity there. I got to tell you.
I love, and I said this to somebody, I love that like emergent culture thing where they sort of the name drifted, and suddenly I realized, wait a second, people are calling it this other very, very cool name.
Yeah, just for the record, I am probably tomorrow going to make up a deep screws icon, and we'll pass that around too, just for shits and gigs. So
that could go on the website along with. So EDSM only has a certain amount of sort of definable roles that they will allow you to have.
Right.
But there have been many, many people that have been calling dibs on what they wish we could have as our roles. So I think we need to create a page on the website where Loose Screws ED that people can go to and have a little separate page, and we can have our listed roles that are our screwy titles for this expedition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because when we go out screwing, we go for 2 months and we go deep.
We go so deep, so deep. Okay, so let's hit a couple of high points because I know there's been a lot of questions and this is coming right up. So I want to start by saying on the Google form that I made, which was really like for my own fun and to prove to EDSM that I had enough people to justify them importing it in the first place, there are 40 responses of people who are signed up, and that is 2 PlayStation, 11 Xbox, and 23 on Windows. Actually, now I'm remembering somebody mentioned that I didn't include Mac on there. Isn't the Mac version dead?
No, the Mac is not. No, to my knowledge, it is still playable.
It doesn't have Horizons.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I don't think it has Horizons, but I think that there's like 4 people on Mac. And as I'm saying that there's the 4 people on Mac, I'm sure that somebody will go, hey, I'm on Mac. Hey, I'm on Mac.
I want to hear for him because I thought it was abandoned, in which case they wouldn't have been getting updates. So I don't see how it could be playable, but I don't know.
Let me say this real quick. So part of the problem is that Apple as a company has pretty much shit on the gamer as a whole because they basically were not developing any sort of video cards for quite a while. And the last round of Pros was the first, or the Pros at like the $15,000 Pro that come out. Was it 2-3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever it was? Mm-hmm. That's the first time they've really released something that could actually play a game, and it's still.
They've been since they switched to Intel chips, they've been using the same graphics boards as the rest of us. Mostly they've been coming with AMD stuff, and then some of the laptops for a while had NVIDIAs. They're not usually using NVIDIAs these days, but they. Anyway, I mean, they have the capability. The issue is the operating system isn't compatible with like the standard DirectX stuff. And they instead of like kind of adopting that, because that's Microsoft, everybody, they actually made their own language called Metal, which is actually like the same thing that is what's going on like iPhone and iPad. And you know, they have some game developers working on that, but it's not a like globally accepted sort of standard. So
they're just a little behind the curve on the gaming side.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to go off on the Mac thing. I just noticed that. So anyway, there are 40 responses on
anytime I can shit on a Mac, I'm good to go. So
okay. Well, they do a really good job for all of my day-to-day business work. So in my recording studio, but I play on Windows because that's where games play when I'm playing games. So 40 responses on the Google form. The Distant Screws has 20 participants signed up on EDSM. So for all of you, the other 20 of you who have signed the form and did not yet get over to EDSM, you know, what EDSM does for you is essentially like gives you it's a little bit social. It gives you like an account and a way to like track your progress through the galaxy, not just the expedition, but this expedition will like go on your permanent record kind of thing if you're able to complete it. So the rules for that are if you're signed up and you have your API key, so it's like attached to your Frontier account, it will track you as you play. And if you complete all of the waypoints of the expedition between the start and end points, the start and end dates, I should say, then that means you're counted as having completed it. So with that in mind, like I said, the start time is going to be just a little bit before we actually take off. On Tuesday, the 3rd, my time, it's actually 1 a.m. March 4th, UTC. And I went ahead and pushed the end date back 1 week from when I'm planning to be back so that people have another 7 days of catch-up time if, you're not on the same pace as everybody else, because I didn't want it to cut somebody off by just a day or something and have that trouble. So anyway, so the arrival date at the end of the expedition is going to be May 5th. And that's 1 a.m. May 5th UTC, so May 4th my time. And you just pass through all of the systems in the list between those dates, and you'll be counted as completing. So that's about it for the official rules of EDSM. So what all we're going to do is, as far as like meetups and stuff like that, like I'm going to be streaming on Tuesdays, and I'm planning on the only time I actually make expedition progress, it's going to be live on the stream. Because part of this was like sort of to have a record of what it's actually like to do a thing like this,
Right.
For people who haven't. So, but that doesn't mean you have to follow my pace. But it does mean where I'll be on certain days, because I'm going to end at the waypoints that I've left notes on as being planned episode end points for each of the weeks in each of the shows. So if everybody is gathered at, we're going to land at Eagle's Landing on the first episode. So episode 2, that means we'll be taking off from Eagle's Landing, and about what time I'll be there, 7:30 Eastern time-ish. And I'll see if anybody's around before I take off, and maybe we'll have another little photo op and stuff like that. But besides meetups, I'm going to be in the Discord talking with whomever, and we'll talk about what we've found and kind of compare notes and stuff as we've been going. And I think that's going to help fend off the space madness, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. The streams the expedition ending spot right now, it's said to be LHS 317 because we don't have anything else going on. If that changes in the future, I actually don't know if I'll be able to change it on EDSM once the expedition begins. There might be some kind of coding rule against me modifying something once it's actually started.
Right.
But whatever, but right now we're planning on starting and ending back in the same system. The decal. Okay. So, it was suggested by many smart people that, I think particularly Kai, that we all put the same decal on our ships to make our screenshots look awesome and coherent. So in our Discord, there has been a post in the events channel, and I'm going to go check it right now. It is a pinned message, and I'm going to jump to it right now to review. So what we did is we sort of talked about it for a while. Basically, we're looking at 4 different of the power play decals because these are available for only 20 arcs if you don't have them. My account actually already has them because I had the Commander's pack when I bought the game. So if you bought some kind of special pack when you got the game, it may have come with some extra skins and decals, and these might be included already. Otherwise, they're only 20 arcs. You can earn 20 arcs by shooting things in a Haz-Res for a few minutes. So there's a vote up on this post in the events channel that is pinned, like I said, and basically put the corresponding emoji on it, emoji reaction to the post for the one that you like. Currently in the lead is Felicia Winters. It has changed. The lead has changed hands. So Felicia Winters' decal is currently in the lead, and I'm going to cut that off on Monday, the day before the expedition actually launches, so that we all have a chance to do it and we're not scrambling at the last second.
What do we do if there's a tie? And
If
I know I'm a tie. What if there is a tie?
If there's a tie, well, here, I'll give you 2 options. We will ask Commander Tierval what he thinks, or we will roll a random number generator. What do you think?
I much prefer the random number generator. I do not want to be responsible at all for making a decision on this.
Okay, if there's a tie, I will use a random number generator that I find on Google, and that will be the arbiter of all disagreements.
Yes, the arbiter of succession.
I like that right now the voting stands at literally it's 5, 4, 3, 2 in order. So that's kind of it's neat.
Yeah. So that's about the size of it for Distant Screws. That's what's going on. We're all in for a deep screwing. Did I forget anything?
Nothing I could think of. The one thing that we need to kind of talk about is when we come back, though, because there is something that's happening along with this that might affect that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't want to step on your business. So
no. I appreciate that. So let me go ahead and officially announce that Tweaked74 will be joining the Loose Screws team. And what he will be doing is he will be managing the BGS, because as of yesterday evening, I officially submitted for a player-made faction for Loose Screws. And should I announce which systems that we're looking at? Or
no.
Okay.
Hold it till they actually pick one.
Yeah.
I think.
So, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I was originally going to announce it, and I thought, I should probably wait. But anyway, so the cool thing about this is that Tweaked will not be joining us. Not that it's cool he's not joining us, but Tweaked will not be joining us on the trip. But if this goes through, we should have our player-made faction ready to go by the time we get back. So anybody who wants to can go and turn in their exploration data at whatever station we end up getting. And that way we can get a little boost in the BGS.
Right on.
So let me start off by saying we are not in the business of galactic domination.
Global domination, yes.
Yes,
but
global
not
domination.
galactic.
Yeah, not galactic domination. We are doing this to, number one, kind of have some fun. There's been a lot of requests from the community. Number two, I think it'd be cool to have it in the game. And number three, man, I'm broken like crazy now. I am sorry, guys. Number three is I don't want anybody to feel like that we're gonna go after someone else's BGS or we're gonna interfere with that. We picked a couple of systems that are pretty out of the, for lack of a better term, traffic of the bubble, but not so far out that it's annoying to get to. And we're not looking to take over anybody's system that they're in. We're not going to go to war with anybody unless it's like we're going to have fun war killing each other until we're just done with it. We're not trying to, irritate nobody, nothing like that. We're not doing anything like that. And I'm not going to tolerate stuff like that. We're just trying to have fun with it. So, and if you are in a player-made faction and you're happy with your faction, there's no reason to come over and help us, but you should help us, but there's no reason to. So
if you want to.
Right. So, congratulations to Tweaked. So.
Yeah, and just about the exploration data, because we had talked about the possibility of people turning in Liang Ri systems. Once you're allied with him and level 5 for the massive payout bonus, you can still do that. Our faction is definitely not going to be in a Liang Ri system at that time. So, it's up to you. But just to since we had mentioned that before, I thought I'd answer that question preemptively.
Yeah. So, the thing I kind of want to talk about real quick is the what I've been up to this week. I've been researching other space games. And I have dipped my toe back into No Man's Sky. And I have decided that what I want, well, let me say this. I think that they finally fixed No Man's Sky because it was broke as shit when it launched and I hated it. I'm still not fond of their spaceflight stuff. Their solar system models are abysmally bad and There's nothing scientifically accurate about it at all. But walking around on the planet, walking around, interacting with their NPCs, interacting with their stuff, the base building stuff, man, that's top notch. I love it. I have fun with it. I don't want to give them a lot of credit. I don't like the aesthetics. I think it's ugly. I think that it still needs a lot of work. But I think that what they've done with it is make a game that I'm happy I paid $60 for. But I would like to see some of those things inside of Elite Dangerous, like the walking around stuff. Now the flight model, the arcadey flight model, it feels like Star Fox. While I like Star Fox, I don't want that in Elite Dangerous, and it's bad. The other thing I want to mention real quick is Star Citizen. I believe that's just in their PTR, which it's weird for them to have a PTR alive, and they're still in alpha. I guess technically they're in a beta now. It's just really weird the way they do that.
What's a PTR?
Player test realm.
Oh, okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah. And apparently you have to be like like one of their, I can't remember what they're called, like their early beta subscribers or something to be able to be on their PTR. Anyway, if you're on the PTR, you get access to a ship called the Carrack. And there's a number of videos floating around where people take you through a tour of it. And I don't want to turn this into the Star Citizen show, but I just want to talk about, this is what I want from, like, if there was something to say, like, from the 2020 update, I want an Elite Dangerous Carrack, and I want No Man's Sky base building walking around. Those are the two things I want.
Yeah.
The Carrack has like a little shuttle bay you can land shuttles in. It has a cargo bay you can actually see cargo in. It has a like a place you can drive up little land vehicles into. It has and the whole ship is fully accessible. Like you can walk all over it. And it actually has an engineering bay that you can go down into. It open up like panels on the engine. And like it looks like when they ever implement like things you can repair, you can actually get in there and repair parts in the engine and stuff if they're damaged. And there's some really cool things that are going on there. And I hate to give them credit because I feel like that game is a complete mess in general. But that was the first thing I have seen out of Star Citizen that I really enjoyed. A lot of the videos I've seen are comparing it to the Serenity from Firefly. Yeah. And that's a very good example. It's really, really, really well done. And kudos to Star Citizen team for making that. I don't know what the thing is priced at. I can't find it anywhere where you actually got to purchase it. I've been hearing rumors of like $400.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, the way they do their ships in that game is you have to pay real money for them, and then you have like a subscription price that you pay per month to keep insurance on the thing.
There was some kind of thing for the Carrack where it was like a $380 upgrade that was only available if you had previously purchased like an $80 thing. I don't know. There was like I looked into it very briefly and I was like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's bonkers, man.
Yeah, it's really weird the way they do their ships like that. I don't like that. It makes it really difficult to try out other ships, and I don't like it. Anyway, that ship is really good. There's actually a cartographic lab where you can go there and look at they have 1 star system in this game or 2 star systems in this game right now, but you can go there and actually look at the star systems and do all the things. There's some really cool things in this ship that I would like FDev to I don't want them to go full Star Citizen, of course, but I like for them to glean some of the cool things from it and import them, so to speak. Like, hey, let me walk around my vet already. Let me do that, please. Mm-hmm. So that's actually all I wanted to cover on those 2 things. The only other thing is I want to stroke my own ego a little bit is that I am ranked 294 right now in CQC. So
congrats, man. That is a huge thing.
And I'm just going to say it. I one-on-one killed Musketeer twice. So I'm just saying.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, he passed 100,000 kills last week. The dude's a badass. So now, I mean, I didn't walk away unscathed. I was like at 2% whole each time, but I still caught him. So,
yep.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Counts.
Yeah. And with that, I think that brings us down to new members to Disco.
Disco. So our new disco dancers this week include, that's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you meant the Discord server.
Yeah,
I'm
Discord,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm an idiot. Okay.
Wait a second. Let me ask you a question, Trax.
Yeah.
How does one join our Discord server?
Well, I think to do that, probably the fastest and most bestest of all possible ways would be to go to tinyurl.com/loosescrewspodcast. Just put that into like a browser or something.
Right on, brother.
You'll probably figure it out. So people who figured that out this week include Tweak9690, Vox Doctor, Zach Blanchett. That's a very normal name. Stump Cutter, Dr. Toxic, Mad King Haster, Tatsua369, guessing at that.
I would say Tatsuwa, but okay.
Tatsua, you're putting the long U in there. Yep. Okay. Tatsua. Yeah, I bet you're right. Tokoso or Tukoso?
Commander Tokoso, the amazing artist that does he literally just put out a new Elite Dangerous album this week that we'll be talking about.
Yeah. Awesome to have all of these people in here. Awesome to have that.
For sure.
Lead Eaters. Yeah. Sorry, it's all the names with no spaces. My brain. Anyway, Lead Eaters. This is a personal challenge. B-Man's Redemption. Shamino. Sky Kogue. Yes, Sky Kogue. That says John N0117. Right? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Papa Beans. Ariri. I know, I actually asked him how to say that. It's Ariri. Lur Von Omicron. Bonus points if you get that reference.
Fuck yeah.
Zoiper? I think I got that wrong. Roy Cookson. Ignava77. Then we have, Orange Phoenix, who is Sagai guy, and we'll be talking about something he did a little later.
He is a huge person within the SPVFA community. He's a streamer and a creator of all sorts of content, including for Sagai. Yeah.
And somebody told me that when he joined, he was number 200 in the Discord.
He was, in fact,
the 200th joiner. Next, Whiskey 24 Actual. We have Kinetic Impulsor, who is the host of Guard Frequency, right? Host of Guard Frequency?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
No Fool Like One. We believe the current manager of Canon, editor.
So LCU No Fool Like One is an administrator over on the Canon Discord, and he is one of the main people within the leadership council there, as well as holding several other roles within the community. He does a lot of stuff with Hutton Truckers. He's written stuff. He's done all kinds of things. He's definitely someone we're going to be talking to soon.
Right on. And then just before we started recording, Galactic Grid Boy, and then just after we started recording, Sabatron has joined.
Welcome.
So boom, boom, boom. Welcome everyone. Glad to have you. Welcome to the fun.
Welcome for sure.
So next on the list of stuff to talk about was going to be some Discord shout outs. We kind of carrying over from last week, we want to remind again that Commander Lieutenant Zephyr is doing the World's Greatest Shave charity for Leukemia Foundation. And there's a very long link, but you'll find it in the show notes to go and help out and donate and support for that. There is, let's see, who else? Oh, who's this guy? Yeah, so part-time voice actor and uncredited consultant for the Transporter movie franchise, Kai Zen, made Combat Deadly this week. So that's pretty good. Congratulations on that.
That guy's a scrub. Fake news. Move along.
Not anymore. Not anymore. And then one more thing that I wanted to mention, that the community member, Commander Jello Wiggler, had mentioned earlier in the week that he and his family are going through some tough medical issues, and we want to make sure that he knows that thoughts and hearts are with him. I haven't been able to talk about the situation and get any kind of updates or anything, but I hope all is going as well as it can be. And, we're thinking about you, whether you're here or whether you're not. So,
yeah, man. When he first posted about that, I literally was, I was sort of laying in bed and I was about to crash out and take a little nap. And then I saw that and I was like, oh crap. And I hopped in and talked with him for an hour. We had a really, really good talk. And yeah, man. So just everyone keep a good thought out for Jello and his family, and the little Wiggler, his daughter. She's going through a really, really rough situation, and it's the kind of thing that as a parent, you just gotta feel like your heart goes out to him, because he's doing everything he can, and him and his wife are keeping it together, and then they've got the other little one to think of as well. And so just Jello, just know that we all love you, and we're keeping out a good heart, good thoughts, prayers, everything, whatever you're into, whatever your personal thing is, whether it's a thought or a prayer or anything, send it out to Jello, man.
You're here.
Yeah, that's just awful. I mean, that kids shouldn't have to go through the crap like that. That's just awful. So, anyway, moving forward, we're going to do story time, unless I'm skipping a note here. That's next, right? Sorry, I looked away from the screen and my mouse scrolled. And I'm not 100% sure that's where we're at. So
I think it is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So last week on Storytime, we went to the Generation ship Hyperion, and NL Hate got there first. DJ Wiley, Smokey Samson, Meg 81, Kaizen, Neo Dreadlord, JN Trax all went there and took screenshots. So this week, let's
talk about what we found there, right?
Hold on.
Okay.
Kai won with the Donkey Balls reference. And if you're not sure the Donkey Balls reference, go watch The Expanse.
The Expanse, yeah. To be clear, because that really does not come off well if someone doesn't get the context.
It does not, no.
I posted a short GIF of a character from that show quoting when he is in a moment of frustration, utters the statement "donkey balls," but it was in context. It's not just like a weird fetish or anything.
Yeah. Not that we're kink shaming, but
ain't nothing wrong with it. But actually, with that one, there's something wrong with it. Yeah,
we're shaming that kink.
All right, moving on. Man, the Hyperion is. So let me start off with saying that what happened on the Hyperion to me is like creepier than some of the other things that have happened on some of the Generation ships. So the Hyperion's troubles began when the pastors began to worship a child named Zechariah as a Messiah who would lead them to the promised land. When the ship's commander tried to stop a ritual and detain Zechariah, he was thrown out an airlock. I believe his name was Commander Jefferson. Eventually, Zechariah revealed his plan to open up all the ship's airlocks. And for the passengers went along with it, believing they would ascend to a higher plane of existence. The Hyperion's midshipman planned to kill Zechariah before he could carry out his plan, but he failed. I think it was because I think he was killed before he got a chance to. The logs aren't real clear on that. Because the next part of the logs just says, they vent out all of the, they open up all the airlocks and vent out all the air. And man, that's like what happened in what was it, Africa back in the 70s where they drank the Kool-Aid and
Yeah, so you're talking about Jonestown in South
Jonestown,
America. Yeah.
And the way that this one here played out, these were all the logs from the midshipmen. Not all the logs, of course, but
5 of them.
Yeah, 5 of them, and the last one is just real freaking creepy, because it's just like automated system message, manual override granted on all logs, full ship purge initiated at 0952, and then it just keeps saying purge complete.
Wow.
I mean that's just super creepy to me. How does things like this even happen? How does that happen to where a group of people can just do all that?
Yeah.
And it looks like
things like that have really happened in the real world too.
Oh yeah, and they followed this kid, and it looks like only one person was really against him. And, this is a generation ship. So you got to assume that there's 10, 50,000 people on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they all just went along with it. They were all okay with it. And oh man, just creeps me out like to no end. But
for sure.
This week, we're going to visit we're going to visit something a little bit different. We're going to visit just a star. So there's not really a scavenger hunt this week on to find what it is, but there is something to go do, because Tuesday we are doing distance cruise. So if you have never done a neutron boost jump, then I want you to go out to Jackson's Lighthouse. That is the nearest neutron star that I'm aware of where you can do a super boost. And it's a good place to practice. It's actually the place where I learned to do it. It's also just beautiful. The rotation on it is beautiful. If you kind of get away, like if you come into it and then fly away a little bit and just look at it, it's really beautiful to do. But I want you to take a picture of you either, doing the jump or with your jump range, and maybe we'll have a little contest to see who can actually have the biggest
who can jump the farthest.
Yeah. And that's how we'll judge the winner this week, is who ends up with the biggest jump range after they charge their FSD. If you're not sure how to do a super boost or a jump, number one, just real quick, fly into the little jet cones, fly away from the star. Don't be like me. I got a video where I screwed it up and died. with there's a story there, but anyway, you charge it up, you wait till it says FSD charged, you fly away, you do the jump. And there's several videos out there. If y'all need help with it, by all means, let us know. We can take you through that. But I think it'd be good for people to go there and kind of practice it. And I think it'd be good for people to know how to do it if you haven't done it. So But
and neutron is the way to start because it's easier for some reason. I think the jet cones tend to protrude a lot farther, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a white dwarf tends to have smaller jet cones. So even though it's not worth as much, not nearly as much as far as a boost to your FSD, it's actually like also a lot more dangerous because you have to get a lot closer to the star's exclusion zone in order to get to the jet cone.
Yeah, it's and I think it was a white dwarf is what I died on, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So because I died, Anyway, so I think that is it. We're going to turn it over to Kai with Elite Week.
All right, so let's start with last week's Kai's question. What game would you like merged with Elite Dangerous and why? My answer was Battletech. We've already gone through it. Trax's answer was Star Trek Bridge Crew, and he didn't get a chance to elaborate. So I'm going to ask him real quick to elaborate a little bit on what your thoughts behind that answer of Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Well, sure. So I just think like there's a lot of missed opportunity for what's going on in the game with multi-crew and what could be expanded with like some coming updates when who knows what we'll get, whether it's being able to walk around on the bridges and stuff like that. But if we could manage to man each other's systems and like get onto the bridge of somebody's Anaconda and be responsible for a bunch of turrets and actually be sort of like standing at a gunner's panel instead of just going into this sort of like amorphous third person view and stuff that's sort of, I don't know, less cool to me. I don't want to like be one of those immersion junkies, but it would be cooler to kind of be like that. So I thought that would be a nice thing to kind of add if this Elite Feet thing turns up.
Right on, man. I dig it. And Ty's answer was Subnautica for all of the reasons that he gave last week. So let's hear what your answers were. The Texarcist wrote in and said, so here's the problem for me. With all the things we wish for, no game that I play comes close to as ambitious or deep as Elite Dangerous. I'm extremely hard-pressed to think of something that I'd like to pull in. I don't want space legs. I know I'm weird, so that eliminates a lot of games for me. I suppose it would be EVE Online for the simple scope of battles. CZs are a joke compared to the battles on EVE Online in terms of sheer size of the battles. Also, on point with At Wotherspoon, there is so much more risk in EVE Online. Battles matter because you can lose literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of ship worth. Elite doesn't have that as much anymore. If my ship blows up, oh well. So I can just jump in a CZ and try my non-meta build, and if I die, it doesn't really matter. So he's calling back there to the Wotherspoon interview from a couple weeks ago where Wotherspoon pointed out that he feels that there's some of the dangers leaving Elite Dangerous, and he's a little sad to see the Galaxy get nerfed. It takes away the spice of it. Commander DJ Wiley wrote in saying, maybe a bit of a random one this, but I'd like to cross Elite with Wipeout 2097. It was my favorite futuristic racing game on the PS1 back in the day. I think having some functionality in the game to properly handle races would be cool. Either set courses or a way for players to make their own courses would be awesome. And we could race ships, SRVs, or even dedicated racing vehicles similar to the way that you fly in Wipeout. So this one starts off sounding like a sort of a silly thing when you say, well, Wipeout 2097. But when you get to the germ of what he's talking about, it's actually what he's saying is give us the ability to make either spaceship or SRV, on land-based races where we can set race courses and do all kinds of fun things that, could just enhance the different abilities that we have with the with the Buckyball Racing Club and the Elite Racers.
This is something I've actually talked about before. I feel like it'd be an easy thing because it already exists. They already have the rings in the game. And it looks to me that they could just make it to where we could drop them, make them to where they despawn after a couple hours or something. And it seems to me like it's an easy thing that they could implement for us. And yeah.
Right on. So Commander Six Element wrote in, I would cross Elite with the Halo universe. I would want it to focus more on ship-to-ship combat on a large scale. A dream of mine would be to take a full control over a full-size CSO supercarrier and just annihilate an entire UNSC fleet single-handed. The game would focus on PvP combat between the UNSC and Covenant, but on a huge scale with giant warships and all the goodness. Lustful Ewok wrote in, I would choose the Dead Space universe. Just imagine coming up to an abandoned mining station or an abandoned ship and using your space legs to walk around one of these places and hearing creepy shit. Having some pee in your pants jump scares. Lights flickering as you make your way down the cargo bay to find some kind of artifact that has a weird glow about it. I can go on, but that would make the game for me. No Fortnite stuff, just being creeped out and shitting all over yourself from an environment on the vessel you're on. Imagine Dav's Hope with some creepy, eerie music going, and you're digging through the invisible stuff. You open a door and a body falls on you, and it's not attacking you. It was leaning against the whatever, and it just fell out of a rack or something when you open the door. Like, yeah, man.
Well, let me say this about jump scares. First of all, no, and I love Dead Space. So,
Right on. Okay. So Gav Cook wrote in and he said, I'd cross Elite Dangerous with The Sims. Imagine a family living and working on a Type 9, like a family business. Kids arguing about being bored, mom and dad worrying about Thargoids and the prices at starports. They could even be working for a company that runs fleet of cargo and trade ships where the parents take their families around the galaxy with them. Interesting. I mean, so like there's a lot really that you can unpack underneath that you know could add. He's talking about a lot of things that add sort of immersion and the slice of life aspect to the game. So I take that.
Yep.
Commander McPherson wrote in saying, the game I would like to see Elite mixed with is old school Myst. Imagine landing on a planet with your space legs and walking up to solve some puzzles in order to unlock blueprints, materials, engineers, and such. Could be searching for Guardian sites, wrecks, ancient ruins, the possibilities. This, I feel, yes, 100%, 1,000%, 10,000% yes. And B, I feel that this very much ties in with what Ty was talking about earlier when he's talking about the No Man's Sky aspect. I feel like No Man's Sky from the bit, and I'll be honest, I have not personally played it, but I have watched videos and streams of people that were playing it, and I've looked into it some. And I don't like some of what I feel is the cartoony aspect and the lack of flight mechanics, just is pretty much echoing everything that Ty said on his feelings on it. But I do like sort of a lot of the intricacies and puzzles aspect of like you can build things and do stuff out there and build a base, and you go out there and you're interacting with the universe. For Elite Week, I've said it for Elite Feed, I've said it a million times. I do not want Fortnite with Thargoids, but the whole aspect of like running around and like engineering, building something, doing something, interacting with flora and fauna, or trying to like, you know, break rocks and get minerals or whatever, like all of that is potentially very, very fascinating if they do it right. So yeah.
Truly.
So Roughneck 57 wrote in saying, the game I'd like to see merged with Elite is kind of an obvious one, Wing Commander or Star Lancer. I think it would be pretty cool if at various times in the game you could opt onto a mission with a faction where you'd commit to playing through, say, 3 to 5 scripted Wing Commander type missions that build on each other in a story arc. I'd imagine that you're limited to the SLFs for the duration. Then when you finish the block of missions, you're released from service with a fat credit reward and a faction promotion. Just think of it. It would be cool to have scripted story missions to get away from the grind from time to time. So this one is an interesting balance because I like it from the aspect of having like hooks into an in-depth universe. The part that pushes me away, though, is that the thing that I love about Elite is that it's just sort of a big open universe and it's just there. And I feel like if we get too like this could be done really, really well, but it would take a lot of work because if you're too narrow with your scope on it, what basically you end up having is a similar thing to World of Warcraft or whatever, where every last person says, hey, do you remember the time we did the mission to save the princess? Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Mm-hmm. Like you need to make sure that you put in enough hooks that go in sort of all different directions that it doesn't feel like you're just being thrown down certain tunnels and funneled into the exact same experience as everyone else. But if you do it right and put a lot of work and effort into it, that could actually be awesome. Mm-hmm. NL Hate wrote in real quick to say, I would mix Elite with Anthem because who needs space legs when you're Iron Man? Which is very metal, bro.
Sidebar here. They are actually completely reworking Anthem, which is a dismal mess right now, but I would like to see what they do with that because I like the idea of Anthem, but man, it's just a mess of a game.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had a coughing fit there.
Oh.
Anthem to me is like, it's like you take a kit car and you have like an amazing, a Porsche 911 kit car built on like a Citroen or something where it's like, it has so much potential when you look at it on the surface, but then when you dug into it, it was like, oof, this is a nightmare. Mm. All right. So lastly, Anna Barrick wrote in, and I wanted these to sort of be book case. What is it? Bookended. Yeah, I wanted it to bookend because this one also comes in really well. I'd have to say EVE Online. from 10
Uh-oh.
years ago. I wouldn't want the whole thing, otherwise I'd still be playing it. But meaningful piracy, take, drop, cargo, or salvage hull for modules. -10 for life, meaningful crime and punishment. So you can tell right away that he's a low sec guy. I was a legal target for everyone where I went, but the flashy red was a badge of pride. Low sec was my home. So just in case you didn't play it, what he's talking about here is people that lived out in nullsec or lowsec that engaged in a lot of PvP type activities, you would eventually they had a different crime and punishment system that it would force you into this situation where you just lived. If you live by the gun, you die by the gun. It is what it is, and you're not safe. You just have to be ready to throw down at any moment. So he says, lowsec was my home. The wild frontiers of nullsec, home to only player-controlled factions with their own systems, their own regions, had their own police forces and armies. They had alliances to band together and fight capital ship battles. Ultimately, being able to wipe each other's sections off the map and take over each other's systems. People could choose their own level of PvP. Stay in high sec, be relatively safe. You could still be suicide ganked even there. Live in low sec for higher rewards, more danger, and only security near stations and gates. Or move to null sec and either just forge your own path or join a group with people. Trade, mine, build, and fight for your own player group. Don't get me wrong. There was and is massive issues with EVE. But pro tip, FDev, just steal the good bits. Now, I got to say, this I think is brilliant. I love the idea of, number one, making higher rewards, as I've said, for in open, for people that are actually interacting with other people than in solo or private groups. I love the idea of a better sort of crime and punishment system that has more interactive gameplay, where when you're in Shinrarta Desra, you should be absolutely safe because you're in the biggest built up area, that the cops should be everywhere and crime should be just a stupid idea. But when you go out to these systems that are farther away from the central hub, that are more, on the periphery, it should get riskier and riskier and riskier, both for PvP situations where like the cops just don't respond or they respond much slower. And also for PvE situations where when you get out there, the pirates that you face should be better engineered, should be better able to handle themselves, should attack in larger groups, should just give you a harder run for your money. But out there, the farther you get out from safety, that's where you put the enticing, better material drops or better mining or goods that drop from loot that drops from when you kill enemy ships or whatever. Basically incentivizing people to get out there and mix it up more. I think that's awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So this week's Kai's question: what movie or show inspires your love of space sim games? So for me, there's actually two. The first one was, when I was a kid, and it was The Last Starfighter. There's a moment, and I linked a video in the video chat channel earlier in the week. I just wanted to be Alex Rogan. I wanted to just, I was in love with Mags. I wanted to, grab Mags, throw her on the ship, take off, and just go out and live a life of adventure with my girl, and Griggs is my co-pilot, and I loved all that. And then more recently, in the last, more as not as a littler kid, but more as sort of on the grown-up side of it, Firefly, man. I love just that feeling of getting by and just living job to job and doing whatever it takes. And I love that aspect of it. And they're sort of two weird opposites, because one, you are the sort of the Messiah. You are the, super uber hero that saved the whole galaxy. And in the other one, you're just a dude. And I love both aspects of those. So who wants to go first? Tire tracks.
Tracks, you go, bud.
Okay. I mean, as a kid, the original thing for me was Star Wars. And actually, like, I'm going to run into all this stuff that I'm talking about has very little to do with sim in the capital S simulation, kind of thing. But just like interest in space and stuff was since basically before I could talk. So it was bound to happen. But yeah, Star Wars, and then I remember watching. It was actually, I guess this is how old I am, but Star Trek: The Next Generation was what we would do like as a family when I was like pretty young. That had just kind of started. I did truly love Firefly, and that does step more toward the sim thing. You know, like that show having the strength, the intestinal fortitude to actually do no sound in space for the TV show version anyway. Which I don't know, maybe that's why it didn't last, but I really loved just those little details. By then I was old enough that I got why that was going to be important to me. And so I would like so appreciated them sticking to their guns with that. And of course it goes on and on and on, but those were the kind of the youngest ones. And then the one that I think has most to do with being a sim, if that makes sense.
So mine's a little bit different. Mine from like, I could cite Last Starfighter, I could cite Star Trek, I could cite Star Wars. But the thing that really made me fall in love with space was, people don't know this, but there was a time where, like back in the early 80s and even early 90s, or back through the 80s and early 90s, what I'm trying to say, they would actually break into live TV to show the space shuttle launches. And I remember watching, like my school would actually roll in the TV to actually show the shuttle launches, like when they were going on, or a few times they called us all into the cafeteria where there was a projector, and they would actually show us the TVs launching, or the shuttles launching. TVs launching doesn't make sense, but anyway, they would actually show it live, and it was really cool that they did that. And you know, that kind of got me into space, and I think that was what made me fall in love with it. I mean, yeah, you can watch like the launches now on like YouTube and whatever, and you can go back and like YouTube. You can watch. I think you can watch all of the STS launches. If you
Probably.
if you go to actually NASA's page, but there was something special about watching them live. They felt like they were a big deal, and they kind of felt like they were like, hey, our country's pulling together to do this kind of feel, you know? And there's a real big feeling in the country, or in the United States right now, where people just don't care about space, and they don't see what it is actually worth doing. And that's really a shame. And yeah, so I would say that, and then you gotta go down I watched Next Generation, Picard. I'm watching the new series of Picard. I kind of have mixed feelings about it overall, but Picard's my captain. So that being said, if I was if this was real and I'm a red shirt beaming down, I want Kirk to come get me, because I might die from Kirk, but he's going to beam back up and nuke the planet. Whereas Picard's going to find a diplomatic reason.
I think though, with Picard, you have a greater chance of actually living.
Okay, you might be right about that, but Picard's, he's going to find some sort of diplomatic resolution. Whereas Kirk's be like, "Did you kill one of my people? Yeah, fuck you, beam up. Scotty, nuke him." And there's something to be said about revenge. So
sure, Kirk will get you killed, but he's going to feel really emotional about it afterwards.
That's
something.
So with the NASA space shuttle launches, it's kind of an interesting thing, because I mean, basically what happened there was, the whole country got a gut punch with Challenger.
Oh yeah, I watched it live, dude. So
yeah, a lot of people did. And when that happened, we kind of, as a country, we turned away from all of that, and it was a moment. There was sort of a moment that was lost there. That was really sad. I feel like there were a couple of moments in our sort of propelling ourselves into space as a species that were sort of lost. I feel like after Apollo 13, there was sort of a pullback from the governments, from the authorities in their sort of support and funding. And then after Challenger, there was another pullback. And if not for some sort of unfortunate situations that had happened along the way, I feel like we would be much farther along as a species to being a sort of a multi-body species, as opposed to, just being limited to here on Earth. But I kind of feel like I disagree a little bit with your statement there, Ty, when you said that, people just don't care about space. I feel like that was true for a good long while, but I feel like the pendulum is swinging the other way, and it's picking up momentum fairly fast, and people are getting on a daily basis more interested in, in Mars, more interested in NASA put out a statement last week saying that as of 2024, we will have a presence on the moon, and not a temporary one. They've just put out the process to start the Gateway project, and the Gateway is basically they're going to put a high orbit station at the moon that is going to be a gateway to facilitate multiple missions onto the lunar surface. Right now, China has a team on the dark side of the moon that was that's there now. I feel like we're picking this up, and we're about to make a big jump forward, which, when something like that happens, that's definitely something that both inspires the nation and hopefully the world. Like, it's not, the whole concept of nations at this point are anarchic and just stupid. We're a species, and we need to get over our shit and start pulling together. Otherwise, eventually, either a virus or a big rock falling from the sky is going to take us all out.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're right. Not about the rock taking us out.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. You're right, but I just pulled it up real quick because I was curious. So between 61 and 69, NASA's budget. Let me just say 62, because I don't think NASA technically existed until, it was 58 when it was formed. Sorry. But between 62,
NACA before,
yeah, something like that. Between 62 and 69, NASA's budget accounted between 1% and 3.5% of the total federal budget. And starting in 79, it has not gotten above 1%. And for the past 20 years, we've been floating around the 0.5% range of the total federal budget. Now, and I don't want to give a whole lot of credit here to anybody, but the current president actually has bumped the NASA budget total dollars, but the percentage has only changed by 0.01%. And I couldn't imagine if we were to throw another 0.5% at it, what we could do. So that's just my opinion. So anyway.
No, for sure. I agree with everything that you're saying. And like I said, we've had swing downs that have definitely hurt, but I feel like the momentum is starting to swing in the other direction, as evidenced partly by, what you just said, that the current administration is starting to expand coverage with regard to funding for NASA, and they've created the Space Command, which, whenever you have a military organization, whenever they start to get their own sort of autonomy, that's when they start arguing for budget. And when you argue for more budget, that's where more R&D money goes. And if there's anything that you want to be to make money in the United States of America, it's in the industrial complex. So, I mean,
well, let me also say this real quick. We as a species, we have to stop thinking of ourselves in the terms of the singular individual, and start thinking of ourselves more as a species. And this is from a global point of view. There is no place outside of this planet where people exist. And should something happen to this planet, should something happen to the solar system, we are gone from existence for forever. And to me, it seems like it's such a small thing for us to create something that could fix that. a colony. And I know it's not. I know it's not a small thing. I know there's a lot involved to it. But when you look at the amount of money we're throwing at other things that seem to be a huge waste,
Yeah.
and we lose a lot of steam whenever people die in space or people get hurt in space. This is exploration. We have no idea how many people died trying to get to America from Europe, going all the way back to the Vikings. Vikings literally just pointed their ships west and like, we're going to see what's over there, and they figured out how to get here. And that's what we got to do. We got to figure out how to get to the next spot, to the moon, to the Mars, whatever the case that may be. And I'm off my soapbox now. So,
well, not to mention the technological advancements that happen when we are forced to, like deciding to go to the moon in less than 10 years, we invented just tons of stuff because we had to. And when that pace slows down, the pace slows down.
I mean, everything that we're using to record this podcast, everything that you're listening to this podcast are on right now, you can trace literally back to the space program, the roots of it back to the space program. It all exists because of World War II technology and because of the space program. That's it. The computer, the phone, all of it. I mean, not the actual tech of it, of course, but the roots of it, you can trace right back to there.
Papa Ty dropping knowledge bombs. While you're in the mood to drop some knowledge bombs, how about you hit us up with a pro tip this week?
So, pro tip is Elite. This link will be in the show notes, of course, and I might throw this on the website as well. But it is elitedangerous.hozbase.co.uk. HOZBASE is how you spell it. And I did not know this existed until Kai showed it to me a couple days ago. And this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So what you can do is you can put in like for instance, like what you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for bounty hunting systems. Like that's one of my favorite things to do is go out and shoot people. And if you have a system that you're specifically looking for, or you're in a system right now, it'll actually will pull you up. And I actually don't know if it'll work right now because Inara is down, but it'll pull you up off of Inara. It actually does work. It just goes off of Sol. So it'll pull you up off of Inara, and it will link. It'll show you systems that are nearby with HazRes, with the navigation beacons that are the compromised navigation beacons, because they go up and down on the ticks sometimes. So and it shows you the distance from the system. It's just a really cool little thing if you're looking for pristine metallic rings for mining, if you're looking for rare commodities for trading. The coolest thing I think on here is the interesting star systems with like canyon runs, trading systems, interesting explorer systems, high G planetary landing systems, alien crash sites, interesting looking stations. It's just a cool thing to find things that I didn't even know existed. Like this actually showed me did y'all know that there is a Coriolis out there with 4 noob hammers on it?
What? No.
Yeah, it's out in the Pleiades. But there's 4 noob hammers on it, and they looks like the old style jacks, man, just spinning around and just knocking sidewinders left and right, man. So
taking out noobs. That's awesome.
Man, it's so cool. This is I went tooling around the other day, just like looking at and I have been to Midderin Hollow a lot. That's one of my favorite places because of the fast orbit. There is actually, there's actually a very good canyon there for fighter running, and it is so cool to go there and fly it, and because the day changes like on I think a minute cycle or 90 seconds or whatever it is, and like you're flying along through this canyon, so it's like light, dark, and oh man, it's like one of the coolest things. I'm gonna take a YouTube video and upload it later because it's just freaking cool. So, but yeah,
very cinematic.
Yeah, the website is elitedangerous.hozbase.co.uk. And again, this thing will be linked in the show notes. So, but yeah.
Right on.
Excellent.
And I think that puts us back over on Elite Week, Kai.
Right on. All right, let's get it rolling. So Elite Week started off on Friday, February 21st. We started off with Hutton Orbital Radio. So this was recorded the previous night. They talked about Operation Hot Mess. They talked about how ECM 20 is sold out. They talked about the upcoming FDev 24-hour live stream, which is no longer upcoming. It happened. They talked about the HaxCom event. And they had all sorts of hilarity. Wotherspoon did his Powerful People. He continued on with Lee Yan Rui. And Lee Yan Rui is, it was super interesting and really hilarious. I love the bits about Ramta. Just good stuff. I cannot wait, Wotherspoon. I know you're listening to this. You need to get this out on the Galnet stream or on a separate stream. We need to have this in the universe. Everyone needs to have this. I know that the Hutton truckers enjoy it, but everyone needs to be able to enjoy this as well. So let's real quick hit some stuff that carried over from last week. First, what was that thing that Paige tweeted out last week that set Elite Nerds on fire? Behold the mighty peduncle tree. We're going to do something different this week. I'm just going to say this once at the beginning and once at the end. Everything that I'm mentioning here, the links are in the show notes. So go there and you're going to get it. And I'm not going to say it 9,000 times this week. All right. So you can go there. You can look at the wiki and see that. And it's a thing. Yeah. All right. Galnet News Digest. This is carryover stuff from the previous week, like I said. Wotherspoon, he roasted me masterfully. He talked about the crazy colonial corrosive cargo convoy. Say that 3 times fast. He talked about Sanderling station sprint at the Okanura station. And apologies for Paige sending people off to find a peduncle. Obviously, if you were paying attention in Latin class, you would know why you shouldn't have run out there. Alec Turner dropped the video, the penal colony of BV2259, SRV versus Thargoid. Alec, in an SRV, hops on top of his ship, then dismisses it. The ship goes to take off while he's balancing on it. He gets some distance and then literally launches himself from on top of the ship in his SRV and performs a death from above attack on a goddamn Thargoid ship using his SRV. He then rides the SRV for a while, Bunky Bronco style, and this just melted my brain. And I shared it with you guys, and we got to stop and talk about this for a minute. I shared it with you guys last night. This melted my brain, and I talked to Alec about it, and he's going to actually expand what he's doing with this. He's thinking about turning it into some sort of event to see how long you can ride a bucking bronco of a Thargoid.
Bucking Thargoid.
Yes.
The man's a force of nature.
Yes, he is. God bless just Alec Turner, and thank you for giving him to us.
I actually only have 2 things to say about this. One, Alec Turner is a fucking madman. And nothing but respect to him. But Jesus, I'm scared of Thargoids. I wouldn't even got close to the damn thing. And 2, I've never in my life even thought about trying to ride my ship. Like I think everybody's jumped on top of the ship. I've never in my life even thought about trying to ride my ship as it gets dismissed flying away. Oh God.
Yeah, man.
I watched that video and I was scared for him. It was really cool.
Even on the, I'm used to playing in VR, even on the flat screen, I felt like my stomach go up into my throat watching him dive bomb the thing. It's just, what a great thing. If you haven't watched the video, get with it.
Yeah, man. I happen to be a 0 or a 1 or whatever on the Kinsey scale, but after watching that video, I would definitely have Alec Turner's babies. That just like I said, melted my brain. I was like, I've never seen anything this cool ever. The Kinsey scale is that thing where it's like, if you're on, I think it's like 0 through 8 or whatever, and like one side is like you're more hetero and one side you're more not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that before. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, anyways, check out the video, Penal Colony BV2259 SRV versus Thargoid. And while you're at it, if you don't click follow on Alec Turner's video, then on his YouTube page, then you just don't even deserve to see all the cool shit.
Reset your commander now.
Yeah. So also, Alec Turner dropped a little forum post called the Cortez Base Drag Strip Challenge, another standing SRV trial from the Buckyball Racing Club. This challenge from the Buckyball Racing Club is amazing. It's literally you take off. This is in an SRV. You take off from sort of this base on the wall, head out. You have to get out a certain distance. Then you flip around and turn around and come right back. And literally, so the rule on it is to end the race, you have to make contact with the wall coming back. And it's very explicitly stated. There's no thing in the rule that says you have to survive that. So there are guys that are launching themselves at full speed right into a wall and exploding to shave a second off their time. And I love you, crazy, crazy assholes. And right now, I'm going to down this beer in salute to you.
Go.
Jesus.
You guys are awesome. And when I have time, I literally am just focusing on combat, and we're doing this expedition. When I get back, I'm going to grow a pair of real balls, and I'm going to come out there and do stupid shit and die along with you guys. So much love to the Buckyball Racing Club. And you can look in the show notes and you will see also the Discord link to the Buckyball Racing Club. If you're not on the Buckyball Racing Club Discord, I don't even know what you're doing with your time, man, because that's where all the cool people are doing the craziest shit you've ever seen. For a bonus challenge, they have the Cortez base jump. Now, on the Buckyball, on the actual forum post, and if you go over to the Buckyball channel, you'll see embedded videos on this that I couldn't pull out links to because they were set as private, even though they were embedded on the thing, but you can see them from the forum post. Click on them. It's literally, they jump over the city. You get a good amount of speed going. You hit the ramp just right, and you jump and fly over the whole city. This is just crazy, stupid, awesome. They're also doing a thing in conjunction with the Elite Racers Club on this, where they're doing a circuit there at the town. This will pop up later in regards to this week's current week's Galnet News Digest. So just remember that. But go check that out. Now, also, Exigeous put out Friends on Thursday, the East Indian Trading Company. This was not today. This was from the previous week. Like I said, holdover. It's an hour and 8 minutes long. It is a cool video that explains what the East India Trading Company does, what their history is, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously from historical lore, from real life, the East India Trading Company was going all around back in ye olden sailing ship type days and doing all sorts of trading. And now what they do is they get you sort of illicit goods and they help you out if you need more Lavian brandy or whatever. It's a very cool sort of in-universe role-playing situation where you go and you pay them. And for people that really want to go into the immersion and they don't want to fly back and forth to pick up Lavian brandy and then go back out to Didi Vaterman, they want to sort of role play doing it all in one trip. There's a way to do that. And these guys are having fun. They're playing in their sandbox and it's neat and you should check it out. So Gavin Harvey put out an ArtStation website, fan art, a full markup. What? That's not even a word. A full markup on a Panther Clipper. Now, this is pretty awesome. It's obviously fan art, so it's not official or whatever. But if you ever wondered, like, oh man, what could a Panther Clipper look like and move like? This guy is not like your average, guy who's drawing like, oh, I drew a cool thing on the back of my book cover. Like, this guy is like using digital tracing, computer CAD, smart shit to like make a thing where like you see the little, you see like the nacelles turning, or the engine jobbies turning. You see all this different stuff happening, and it shows all kinds of like what this would look like, what that would look like. It looks like the mock-up he did was like he's trying to sell it to the government to say like, hey, build this thing. So he he did a lot of that stuff. So it's very, very cool. You should check it out. A lot of people have been looking at this going like, yes, I want to go to there. All right. So Sepulturegeist put out multiple videos this week. Let's hit two of them right off the bat. The Type 8 preview. Obviously, this is a humor video, 3 minutes long. Check it out. He put out the Alliance Chieftain, not a humor video, an actual review video, 4 minutes long. It's an interesting little thing. Check it out. Sagittarius Eye put out a documentary, Trading the Good Stuff. Obviously, all I can say about Sagittarius Eye is whenever they put out anything on their documentary channel, it is always top notch. It explains different things about rare trading goods circuits and different things about how you can get into trading and hauling, and sort of from a very beginner viewpoint to a more even advanced viewpoint, lots of little tips and tricks. It is awesome stuff. Go there, get yourself on their list, subscribe, check everything that they have that comes out. You should be seeing it before I tell you about it because it's that good always. Commander Orange Phoenix, he who just joined our Discord today, he put out a video that had everybody talking at the end of last week. It was called Why We Fly, Elite Dangerous. It's a top-notch spoken word piece. It is a must-see. It is super, super interesting. It's almost like, I don't know how I would even describe it other than he's SPVFA, so obviously the visuals are great. But it's not even so much one of like their highlight visual things where it's all, neat stuff that you're seeing. It's more the lighting and whatever, because a lot of it is actually the camera is turned in on his face and he's speaking this almost like a poem, spoken word piece, whatever. I don't know. I'm not that artsy, but it's this interesting thing talking about like, why do we fly? What do we, why do we risk this? What we need this freedom. We need this whatever. And then it also ties into a lot of stuff with like, there's a lot of people, man, that they get into this game and they're getting away from the shit of real life. They're getting away from whatever it is that is just pulling them down. And there's, this game, man, it's aimed at grownups, and grownups lead complicated and sometimes messy and sometimes just unfun lives. And having this as an outlet, as an escape valve, as a way to jump in and just kind of tune out and relax and whatever is a beautiful thing. But I think that the piece also kind of leans in towards the idea of like, we are each other's family. We are Space Nerds United. So when you see someone that's having a difficult time or whatever, whether it's someone in your Discord or someone that in your squadron or in your player faction or whatever, maybe in the forums, maybe on a website, maybe in Reddit, maybe whatever, reach out, be a decent human being, try to in some way lessen the load. And sometimes just hearing a person's problem will make it kind of take half the weight off of them and let them express themselves and unclench and then, take them out and go kill some shit in a CZ or blow up some Thargoids or run a mission or, just be there for each other, man. What do you guys think about this one?
My very first episode of this podcast, I talk a lot about why I'm doing the podcast. And I have said it before, and I'll say it again, that I'm a very big believer in the power and that video games have a media power that nothing else has. And that is the ability to bring people together. And there's no better example than the people that we've brought together. Starting with myself, Gunskill, Dravenos, you two guys. We've gone through a lot of changes, but we have brought a community together. And, that's why I play video games. And I think that this video right here, kind of harkens back to that a little bit. The power to bring people together. And that no other media, no art form, no movie, no book has ever brought people together the same way that video games do. and I know that's why I play them, and I know that that's a lot of the reason why a lot of other people play them.
Yeah, I was hoping that's what you were going to say. Exactly. It's this medium. It's the cross media that it is. Video games themselves are cross media, and now they're almost all of them or at least can be community based, and right back to I don't know how many people are going to identify with this, but like for a lot of people, I think Final Fantasy VII was the first time you see a big, like a major ticket game kind of touch people in an emotional way, in an emotional storytelling way. And it was sort of like this light flicks on where that's sort of this moment and it's a singularity and we're all just going to expand and branch out from there. And it's never going back into the can. So,
well, let me break on. So you said Final Fantasy VII was like the first. Was that the first time that you had a video game kind of bring on emotion in you?
As strongly as it did, and I know I mentioned that not because it's the only one or not because it's the first one, but it's often cited as an early example, and I think it was very wide audience that it touched in that way. So that's why I mentioned.
So, the first one I can think of is actually the very first Wing Commander when, man, you're defending, I can't think of the damn ship's name now, but you're defending that big ship from all the Kilrathi attacks.
Right.
And, man, you're like, no matter how good you play that mission, you lose the ship. And man, I remember playing that damn thing over and over again, thinking that you weren't supposed to lose the ship. And then I finally just accepted it. And I was just like, no.
Oh my God. That reminds me now that you say that of, was it Free Space or Free Space 2? It was one of those games that was a sequel from the original Descent.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
So Wing Commander was,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's done the same vein, but they're different universes. Free Space was a spirited successor to Descent, and Free Space 2 was a direct sequel to that. But
that game ends that game ends like that. There's a mission that you can't survive, but it is the end of the game. And I remember finishing it and being like, what did I do? I failed the mission. And then the cutscene kind of makes it clear that no, this is the story.
Yeah. They hit you with the Kobayashi Maru in both of those games.
Yeah.
In the one in Free Space, I think the one you're talking about there is Free Space 2, where they
destroy the star at the end.
Yeah, the Shivans destroy the star, man. I replayed that mission several times. I was like, I remember like because like you die, your whole fleet dies. Yeah.
Yep. It's a big thing. Yeah. So absolutely. Why we're here, the emotion, the connection, also touching our imaginations for the thing that's interested many of us since we were barely walking.
And like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again, man. This game is not aimed at children. This game is aimed at adults. And when you're 12, your biggest problem is that, whatever, Susie Finkel from down the street, doesn't think you're cute or whatever, or like, oh, I need $20 so I can get a new game or whatever. And, so your escape then is more sort of innocent and just light and like, it's easy. You can throw yourself into something and whatever. But when you're an adult, when you've got a mortgage and kids and, God forbid, a sick kid or sick wife or, a sick brother or, you're getting to the point where a mother or a father is passing or, work is just, you're doing everything that you can, but, and you're doing a great job, but the business is going under or whatever. Like there's real life shit that just hits way harder. I mean, everything seems like it's the end of the world when you're a kid, but looking back on it now, that it's just not. But there's stuff that hits you now at this stage in our lives that can rock our worlds. So when you're out there doing what you can to sort of escape and to have a little fun and to blow off some steam, keep an eye out for your wingman, man. Keep an eye out for the people that you're with and just be that guy that's there for someone if they're, dealing with something or whatever, man. Just help lighten the load in any way you can.
Here, here.
All right. So Tales of Tawanta. Here's an update on this. So I reported on it last week briefly, and I kind of misunderstood what it was because I thought it was just like, hey, here's a new thing. Somebody brought it to my attention, and I wanted to like, oh, okay, cool. This looks interesting. Oh, it's a neat blog. And I thought it was just the one. I went back to say like, oh, I wonder if the guy posted a new blog this week, and just something about the thing, it tripped my eye that it's like, oh, wait a second, there's a menu here on the side. There's more. Oh, there's a bunch of these. And as I dug into it, it just got better and better. And what it is it's sort of a blog of life in Tawanta. It's this weird interactive story of what's going on. That's the area where, the Burr Pit, they have their player group. And you read these blogs, and it's just like, a written, blog of story of, hey, this happened this week or this happened. And it's all in universe, in game, where they're talking about like the travails of this group or that person or what's going on here or there. And this guy's dealing with this or that. But there's a little hyperlink hypertext mode link. I don't know the words for that, but there's little hyperlinks where you click on it while you're reading the story or whatever, and it'll like link to a video of like, so he's reading a report of a battle, and then you click on it and it pulls up a video of the battle, or it pulls up a schematic, or it pulls up a, a picture, some art, whatever. It's a super interesting interactive tale. And it goes, there's a bunch of different installments of it that are still ongoing. So check that out. David Cooper put up Stellar Unknown Expedition. This is a 5-minute video. It is an awesome music video with highlight footage from the expedition. It is a must-see for all explorers. And the ending has an awesome, I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to just leave it and say the ending, it has an awesome little surprise that you have to check out. All of the guys that are going with us next week on the expedition, check this out. And if this doesn't put lead in your pencil, I don't know what you're doing, man. Because this, to me, I was just like, woo, this looks awesome. All right, man, there's a community event, the Crazy Colonia Corrosive Cargo Caravan. I've got like a page and a half of notes here. I'm not going to read them. There is a link so you can read all of it that you want. But basically, the short version is this. People are looking for something to do. And since we don't have any sort of directed narrative in CG's eyes, whatever, they're making their own fun. And what they've decided to do is this is an ongoing event. It started the day after Valentine's Day, and it's going all the way up till April Fool's Day. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. You're going to be hauling Thargoid sensors and probes and links and all kinds of stuff all the way out to Colonia, all the way out to Jack Station. If you don't have, the Horizons. If you do have Horizons, go out to the Canon Deep Space Research at Arcanon's Legacy in Colonia. And it's just it's a silly, fun thing to do while you're hanging out and spending time. So if you're looking for something to do, join our expedition, do this thing, do some hot myths, and take mugs all over the galaxy, get into the Thargoid something, but just find something to throw yourself in. If you're bored, then you're boring. This is an option. Mm-hmm. Go do something. All right. Sepulture Geist put out another video, an Asp Explorer review. That's a serious one. And of course, everybody's got their own spin on the Asp Explorer, but everybody loves the Asp Explorer because it's the Asp Explorer. That's why I'm going to be in one for the next 2 months. So there was a real life chart put out of cosmic exploration on Reddit. I've got the JPEG there. You can click on it, and it's really, really neat. It shows the different bodies in our solar system, and it shows at the bottom there's like a chart of like this lunar lander, or this Apollo mission, or this Mars rover, or the ISS or the Voyager or all these different probes and, Hubble and this, that, and the other. And they show kind of like, okay, this one kind of went out to here, this one went out to there. And it's this neat, really cool, big sort of chart that I would love to just get blown up and put on a wall. Cause it's to me, it's amazing. And it's kind of a touchstone of our history of space exploration. And I hope, it is my absolute sincere hope that in the next 50 years, they're going to need 10 times more space to put all the stuff, because I hope we're getting it gear and we're getting
ramping up.
All right. Reddit also put out a starport landing map, a landing pad map. So you can go there, you can see the thing based on the numbers. It'll tell you, oh, it's this way or it's that way or it's in the back. And hey, the big ones are always these numbers and the stuff like that. So check it out. Burpit, Which Space News? Okay, the Galnet follow-up. Why We Fly and More. The first issue was Gal Not. He gave us a very, very kind shout out and a very kind review, really, of my forum post, my little post that stirred up a bunch of stuff. And he makes a very good also argument for why, even though he and many of the community agree with what I wrote, why we have to express that to Frontier and then also have some patience and wait, because it's not really advisable for them to try to just turn on a dime, slam on the brakes and whatever. That we've made our feelings clear. They have definitely said that they've heard us. Now we have to wait and see, and for my money, have a little faith that they're going to do right by this. So he talked about the... Go ahead.
What's kind of funny about that, I'm going to stop you real quick, is that, this one of the things I said is that was saying that, we probably should just break a little bit. Of course, then they did the response, which kind of felt very meh. But anyway, I don't want to go back on the whole thing.
No, man, I echo all of your feelings on this, but I'm just choosing to have hope that things are gonna work out in the wash. So he talked about the 24-hour FDev Game Blast live stream that already has happened now, but was in the future at that point. He talks about Hot Mess getting over 50% of the galaxy. And he talked about the awesome Why We Fly video that we just discussed. His Thargoid report also was dropped that day. Again, subscribe to get those Thargoid reports fresh so that you can hear it. For now, it's not giving you any good whatsoever because he's dropping a new one tomorrow morning. So you can go tomorrow morning and see what the report is and be ready to rock. Tomorrow morning, just to be clear, America time. I think it's going to be sort of afternoonish or whatever. Look for it by then in Europe times. Exizius dropped the Frivolous Friday Fun, the Thargoid Machine. This is a 3.5 hour long video. I don't know if I would definitely call it frivolous. It definitely happened on Friday. The fun part, you watch the video and you tell me what you think. My heart goes out to Exizius and the crew that went down there. The idea was very simple. We're going to go out here. We're going to turn on the Thargoid map machine. We're going to look at the cool map and I can show it off to people. And we're also going to show off different interactions, like when you bring Guardian Tech down there, how, shit gets buggy and whatever. And it has that whole 8-minute long or 6-minute long, whatever reaction of the thing fizzing and popping and it's going to explode on you. It's not happy. Unfortunately for Exizius and crew, they just hit every bug you could. So if you want to watch this, you're going to watch 5 people lose their shit as everything fails to work. It is just sort of a descent into madness. And again, I have to give much love and respect to Exizius for having the balls that he just put it out and said, hey, it is what it is. Take a look. You decide. He's done a couple of really ballsy moves in the last couple of weeks that he's not afraid to put it out there, warts and all. And, it's just like, hey, here's what it is. And, whatever. Let's be honest about it. All right. Toko So put out a new album. It's a new free Elite Dangerous album. It is free. You don't have to go to iTunes and give him $15. You can definitely hit up his Patreon or do whatever, but he just put it out there for everyone. It's called Dreams from Beyond the Frontier. It's on SoundCloud. There is a link. I'm actually saying it on this one specifically because I want everyone to go out there and hear that. Amazing, beautiful stuff. He's done a lot of Elite Dangerous theme stuff. He's got multiple albums out. They're all there for you to check out. It's good stuff. You should go see it now. Listen to it, actually.
Fun music. Well done.
Yeah. Primetime Casual put out the Casual Guide to the Galaxy, Season 1, Episode 4, Titan's Daughter. He's talking about 19 Tauri, which is now better known as Tegeta. Did you guys know that Tegeta was one of the Pleiades? The Pleiades were the sisters of Greek mythology, along with several others, including Maya, Electra, Seleno, Sterope, Merope, and more. I don't know if that is ringing any bells rusty, to you.
But now I know.
Yes, well, they were the daughters of Titan. So there you go. So there's a station in Tegeta called Titan's Daughter. Now you know why. And there's an awesome little planet there that has 3.1 Gs that makes it a good starter for speedboat training. So go check it out. It's a beautiful video, beautiful music, really interesting. I love the whole fact that, like, you know, he brings in the part about the Pleiades sisters, and you're like, oh, that's where they get the name for all this. That's awesome. So, all right. The next thing up was FDev's 24-hour charity live stream. It was huge. There was a ton of money for special effects. It was a wonderful thing. They also had they had Hello, It's Colo on. They had a ton of different people. They did a buckyball challenge. They did a lot of stuff. Colo raised a ton of money as well. It was just a big whole sort of, the orgy of giving and good feelings and everybody being awesome. And it also was a sort of a very fitting send-off to Paige. It was Paige Harvey's last day with the company. She is now a full-time Twitch streamer. So you can catch her streams, and this one I'm actually going to say out. It is in the show notes, obviously, but I'm going to say it here. www.twitchTV/Arthremis/videos. That's Arthremis, ARTHREMIS/videos. So it's like kind of like Artie from Ready Player One. So go check it out and give Paige some love. She deserves it. FDev sent out an email with the Elite Dangerous Store Alert 60. It had some pretty cool paint jobs for the Conda and some other stuff. There was no other real big news. It was because at that point it was, that they were just in the process of doing their charity stream, which had just wrapped up. So Saturday, that was Friday. That was day one. Now I'll let you guys know that was like half the week was just day one. Friday was half of everything that happened. So you can relax. We're on the downswing. Saturday, Down to Earth put out a guide, auto launching EDMC with Elite Dangerous. It's a 7-minute long video, and it'll show you how if you run EDMC and you're like, oh, I hate that every time I have to click on there and remember to click on it. If I don't remember and then it doesn't go, there's a thing you can do. It's some computer type shit, and you can make it just happen automatically. Follow his instructions. Even idiots can do it. I could do it. So you could, for sure. All right. Subject Zero put out a very cool video. Now, this is not Elite Dangerous per se. This is real science. I like to mix in some real science here and there. They put out a video called The Alcubierre Warp Field and Antimatter. It's a 10-minute long, in real life, theoretical physics explanation of the subject. I'm going to be honest, I clicked on it because it had a very cool looking spaceship on the thing and it said warp field, and they were talking about how you would do it for real. And then they go into a lot of math and stuff, but they do kind of circle it back around to like cool shit that even dumb people like me can enjoy. So I'm sure you will enjoy it as well.
Gene Roddenberry actually formed the warp drive based on that theory. So
Absolutely. So Sunday, February 23rd, Rusty Dogs Sunday stream. You know by now, I'm telling you, you got to hit it every week. John Beamer gathering and chat stream. He's just going around on his alt, his like low level-ish. There's no level in this game, but his like much less tricked out alt. And he's, going around gathering stuff and just having a long sort of stream of consciousness chat about everything Elite related, everything that's happened, in the last month. He's just talking about it. It's awesome. You should check it out. Sepultura Guys put out another Type 7 review. It's humor. It's a 2-minute video. He's literally just having a meltdown. He's like, what? You want me to review? Like, I guess he's making a thing where it's like there's a fictional editor or whatever. And he's like, you want me to review this? It's a Type 7. What the fuck do you want from me? And he throws his notes and whatever. It's hilarious. Check it out. He also put out an Asp Scout review. Again, it's humorous. Check it out. It's 3 minutes long. It's funny. His stuff is really, really good, man. He's a writer in real life. Like he, I don't know if he has a day job, but I know that he actually has professionally put out a couple of novels in this interesting series. He's an artistic guy, and more to come. I dig his stuff. Yeah, there's definitely more to come from him. He is very prolific. He is hot right now. Check out Sepultura Geist and just hit him up and subscribe. All right. So Monday, February 24th, the Loose Screws podcast interview series continued rolling right along with the Atris 5060 interview. Amazing interview, amazing guy, very, very cool stories, very, very interesting and varied sort of interests and different things that he's done and been there for. He's been there for all of it. So go check it out. Tell us what you think. Hello, Dave. On Monday, number 137, he talked about the Frontier live stream. He talks about he speculates about bug patches coming next month and fleet carriers maybe just before summer vacation. That's his thought. He's approaching 50,000 subscribers and he has big plans to celebrate. And upcoming next week will be the Blunderbuss 2.0 build streams. So check it out. Also, huge congratulations to Hello Dave, to Astro, Down to Earth Astronomy, whatever name you're going by. He is actually going to be taking like a month or two off of streaming in general, and he's going to go on an extended honeymoon vacation. He's getting married coming up soon, very, very soon. And to the point where when you see him on the videos now, he's almost on streams. He's got that nervous look of like, there's 10,000 things to plan. I don't know if we got them all. But God bless, man. It's a beautiful thing. And we at the Loose Screws podcast crew wish you all the best in your wedded bliss.
Don't do it. I'm divorced twice. Don't do it. Don't get married. It's a bad idea. Don't do it, Astro.
Get married and you'll be fine.
Don't do it, Astro.
That can happen too.
It's bad. Don't do it. Stay single.
For the record, Trax is very happily married and highly recommends it. So your mileage may vary. All right. Next up, Elite Dangerous live stream Monday. Let's play. Actually, wait. Sorry. Forget that. Skip that because they were recovering from the 24-hour live stream. So never mind.
Whoops.
Yeah. Whoops. That's the blooper reel. Commander Plater, he dropped Elite Dangerous back in the chair, a 2-hour stream. It was a great live stream. He talked about everything in the Elite Dangerous universe for the last month. He talked about the Galnet issues and my little forum thing. He talked about people asking questions about what do you think's coming with this and that. He talked about, and he did the video. You could tell his voice was so. He's coming back from a round of treatment, and I just have all the love for this guy. He's an amazing guy, a quality human being, dealing with a very, very dark situation just with absolute grace, and he's just an amazing guy. And then he literally is always thinking of other people. He's like, oh, well, what can I do for this? How can I help with that? And just that guy is who you want to be when you grow up. Sepultura Guys put out another video, Fending Off Space Madness. It's a 15-minute long video. And I said to the guys as soon as I saw this, I linked it to them and said, this has got to be a discussion topic, especially for our upcoming trip. And, we're about to take a bunch of guys out there in the black, some of which are actual old rusty veterans that have been there and seen it and done it all. A lot of which are brand new to explorations, or maybe they've done one little one before. And when I say exploration, I mean they did a 2-day trip and then came back with their ready to unlock Palin. This video, super, super interesting. He talks about a lot of sort of the mental tricks that your mind can play on you, and how people zone out and tune out and start making stupid risks and start doing things. And he talks about really cool coping mechanisms and different things you can do to just make yourself safer from falling down a rabbit hole of doing dumb things or losing focus and doing basically dumb things. So how about you guys tell us how you feel about that?
Yeah, for real. Well, so right, he's talking about like the kind of wild stuff that has happened to him, like losing focus and then feeling the need to do something crazy or something because you're just so bored and it's so repetitive after so long. I don't think I've been out long enough to feel quite like that. I have felt pretty antsy sometimes. The other time that I went out for quite a while was just to unlock the engineer. And I did such a bad job of it. So I didn't know how to build ships back then. So I took out a Crate Mark II that had it was like loaded up with hull reinforcements. It was just the dumbest thing. I think it only jumped like 24 light years or something. And I thought I was going to make 5,000 light years, and I picked a nebula and took off. And I picked a nebula near the galactic rim. So I started getting out there, and it got harder and harder to plot a route as the stars got further apart. And I realized I was only going to make it maybe 2,000 light years before I was going to run out of somewhere to go. So I actually had to come all the way back past the bubble and go in toward the galactic center in order to make 5,000 light years. And it ended up taking, a couple of months, I think. And I wasn't in a nice jumping ship or anything. I did have the presence of mind to, as he recommends in the video, filter by scoopable stars. And actually, I refined it a little bit more than that because a few of the scoopable stars aren't very much like Sol. So basically, I changed it so we were mostly getting the most Sol-like stars. I actually forget which ones I cut out, but the idea being that you're going to encounter a greater percentage of systems that are likely to have Earth-like worlds, and that like will pay out kind of more. But it ended up taking way longer than it needed to, and I did feel like, oh my God, I never want to again by the time I got back. And at this point, that was a year ago, so here we are again.
So this is my fourth expedition, sorry, out into the galaxy. And the first two times, Netflix is your friend, is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Having Netflix on another screen makes it to where, because exploring gets very repetitive. It really does. But, so I actually got to where I would actually have two games running. I have Elite Dangerous, because I didn't really know about fuel scoops on my first couple of, I knew about fuel scoops, but I didn't always like the lowest fuel scoop because I always just kind of assumed that they fueled the same rate because I was dumb back then. Well, in my defense, it wasn't real clear back in the day. You had to kind of dig a little bit, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So anyway, and I wouldn't say necessarily go with the lowest fuel scoop, but I had a low fuel scoop in like a 17 or 20 light year jump range on my vet. But anyway, like I said, I didn't know how to build ships. So my first couple of expeditions were very long, and I actually had another game running. I actually had like the original Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 when they re-released them up on another monitor. You can just turn-base that and, spacebar pause, fly a little bit, get myself lined up, tab back over, spacebar pause. Yeah, that's I kind of played two different games at once. But there's a bunch of ways to fend off quote-unquote space mages, but Sepulturgeist has got some really good ideas in here, I think. So I'll bring it back around to that.
For real. Yeah, it's a good video.
Yeah, man. I like, so he talks about stuff about like how you can set little goals. So instead of saying like, okay, I'm going to make, I'm going to be out for 2 months, whatever, make a little goal. Say, okay, I'm going to do this next 100 jumps or this next 20 jumps or this next 50 jumps. And then when you hit that goal, you treat yourself with something. You stop, you land on a planet. That's another big thing. Land on a planet, go get out in your SRV, get out and look around, see some neat stuff, scan some stuff, scan a planet for absolutely no reason, not one that's even a high payer or whatever. Just you find one and make a little story in your head. Go land, map it out, land and go on your SRV and find a nice little ridge or something and look up at the sunset, or God forbid, hope you get like a triple sunset or sunrise, or you get some weird thing where you get to see an eclipse or you get to see something neat and just have a little whatever. Also, reach out to a buddy, man. Say like, hey, Dubs, let's you and me go land here and race SRVs for an hour or SLFs for an hour, just for absolutely no reason, but that it's fun and you have connection. Land at a planet at the end of your day, if you're so inclined. Sometimes you're like, I can't even be bothered. I'm just going to go to bed. But it's a good idea, to sometimes or all the time, depending on how it gets you. Land on a planet and literally, it sounds dumb, but like role play it out, man. Like land, put out your landing gear, do the whole 9 yards, go out in an SRV, do a little circle around the perimeter and see what's what, and then come back and sort of turn off the computer and go crawl into your bunk and just chill. And also too, if it's getting to you, if it's whatever, like Ty said about the whole, have another game or whatever, like legit, man, just don't push it too far too. Like just before your brain turns to mush, turn off Elite Dangerous and, go play some, something else, go play some Rocket League or some, Red Dead Redemption or some, what's that, Star Citizen or No Man's Sky. Go turn all of it off and go watch an episode of Picard, or even better, go out for a walk in the sunshine. Take a run, man.
Hey, don't be putting me outside.
Or, whatever. Your mileage may vary, but mix it up a little bit. Don't let your brain go to mush, and you're going to have a good time. So also, we're out there as a crew, we're out there as family, and that doesn't mean that like, oh, well, the PC people are one family and the Xbox people are another family. We're going to be one family out there. So you reach out to somebody, be like, hey, I'm going to be on, Tuesday afternoon at, X time UTC or X time, CST or whatever, and find somebody. And even if you're on, like I'm on PC and, Trax is on, say, PlayStation. I know he's not, but just for the purpose of this conversation, Trax is on PlayStation. That doesn't in any way, we're not going to be the same systems anyways. We're going to be mapping different areas so that there's 0% difference to just say, okay, he and I are going to get in comms. We're going to even put on a dumb movie. The guy was talking about in that video, like, hey man, you can put on Mystery Science Theater 3000. They have them on YouTube. It's free. You don't even have to have Netflix or whatever. Everybody does, but whatever. Put on a movie, put on something silly and stupid on the second screen. And while you're jumping and mapping, be in comms with a buddy or five and just be silly and talk about whatever, or say, hey, find somebody that's going to be your battle buddy and say like, hey, you want to, you and me we'll do a bunch of jumps together, kind of somebody that's on a similar time schedule to you, do shifts together and watch Babylon 5 or Battlestar Galactica or I don't even know, whatever the hell you want. It's just anything and break it up.
Something else I'll say is that we are on every single trip that I've done out of the bubble. There's a point where I get tired or careless, and eventually I fly into something and take some damage, or I overheat and take some damage, or whatever the case may be. I think I can't remember who all we have, but should you get in a situation where you are out of fuel, or you are, or your ship is damaged, let us know in the Discord. I'm out of the two ships I got lined up to take, I'm probably taking my Vet. But I might take the Phantom. I'm still on the edge there. I'll probably just do a game day decision. Anyway, but both ships I got equipped out for being able to do refuels and be able to do repairs. So if
I have repairs too. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people we've sort of spread it out a little bit.
Right. We got enough
yeah.
people who have fuel and have repair that if you need something, let us know and we can make it happen. Should you get stuck off fuel, exit out of the game and then let us know in Discord and we'll figure out a way to get to you.
Also, this is very important. Know your battle buddies. So in the PC situation, it's a little easier. It's a little more important for Xbox, and it's way more important for PlayStation, where there's just going to be two of you going or whatever. I think by the time we're actually going with this, there'll be more than two PlayStation. But if you're in a situation where you have only 4 or 3 people going in your sort of grouping that you're going to be in the wing of PlayStation or the wing of Xbox, make sure that you talk to those guys ahead of time and work it out to say like, hey man, I got fuel limpets. Okay, I also have fuel limpets. Well, I got hull. Okay, I'll also have hull. If you work it out to where that you make sure that for everything, there's at least a couple of guys that have it, that really ups your ability to survive whatever gets thrown at you out there, man.
Yeah. And there's no reason you can't be essentially with all of us as a whole community, regardless of platform, because we're all going to be in the Discord, just chatting while we fly or whatever.
100%. But I just mean with regard to the repair abilities,
Right.
Make sure that you have that for your separate group.
Yes.
But yes, you're 100% right.
And like I said, do not just blow yourself up. Like contact
Talk
us.
to us first.
Yeah, talk to it. Like there may not be a way we can save you, but we can always try. So
It's going to be Ty's Galactic Suicide Hotline, open 24 hours a day. We're going to give out once we start, we're not doing it now, but once we start, we're going to give out his home phone number, and you can call him no matter what time of day or what area code you're in, and he will stop what he's doing and talk to you.
man, I've had the same phone number for freaking 20 years, so that's fine.
Well, you got to be careful saying that because I actually have your number, so I'll put it out there for everybody. No, never mind. I'm just lying. Okay, so so this is all good stuff. I think maybe I don't want to sell this as doom and gloom. It's not like, oh, you're signing on for you're gonna have a great time, but there's gonna be times in that where you feel whatever, and when you do, we're here for you. So reach out for sure, man.
Yep.
Okay, so that brings us to let's see here. That brings us to the Monday night was Sidewinder Slaughter with Exegius's group, the Level 11 Discord, every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's repeated again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. UTC for you European type peoples. So if you want to show up for some new player friendly PvP at low stakes, low cost, you just have fun. It's a fun event. Go give it a whirl. You might be surprised at how much fun you have, and it costs you basically nothing. Tuesday, February 25th, Guard Frequency was dropping heat with episode 295. They talked about my little forum letter and the missing Galnet situation, and they had a very interesting exchange, man. They talked about this ex-employee from FDev called Guy Verona. He was an ex-employee. He was one of the original writers of Galnet at the beginning, at the start. And he apparently had some kind of a Facebook exchange a long time ago with Drew Wagar, and they were discussing his frustration that because while he was writing Galnet, David Braben was sort of pushing back and saying, like, this doesn't match my headcanon. This was a conversation that took place circa 2014, 2015, like a long while back. Now, so they talk about like, hey, if that's the situation, why have they been investing in Galnet and then stopping to make the stories? What's going on? They had some sharp words on the subject. I'm not going to lie, but definitely check it out. They have an interesting conversation and an interesting viewpoint on it. My feeling after listening to it, honestly, was that, hey, look, if the pushback on this is that David Braben sort of is only halfway into Galnet, like he doesn't like it because it's not matching his narrative, instead of hiring writers to put something out that he doesn't like, so he pushes back against it and it's going to get squashed, how about you hire a good writer to go have lunch with them once a week, have him say, hey, this is what I want. I want stories of like this, and this, and then let the guy go write them. And like, instead of
Yeah,
fighting
seed it a little bit.
Yeah, instead of fighting, man, just go with the stream. Make it easier on yourself, and we can put something out, because that guy is a genius. And if he has ideas and he doesn't like your ideas, go with his ideas and flesh them out with a professional writer. And I'm sure we could get some awesome stuff. But we just want some stories, man. They talked about the live stream. They talked about they continued their Elite Dangerous role play session. They had some awesome stuff about Star Citizen as well. There's a lot that's going on. This was a big week for Star Citizen. You're going to hear more about it coming up. Lave Radio put out a podcast, 281, Xeno Bunny Strikes Back. This is a hilarious title because this was aimed at Colin's bunny. This was a joke because Colin didn't make it that day. And they literally, Edelweiss said like, we're going to call it Xeno Bunny Strikes Back. And they started with like 5 minutes joking about how Colin's bunny was dead, which, spoiler alert, it was not at all dead. The bunny's just fine. It was just them goofing off. But in the end, a bunny gets revenge. And you'll hear more about that in just a moment. Their guest speaker this week were Spider-Mind Games. Colin was out, as I said. Psycho Cow sat in. They talked about the 24-hour live stream in Page's last day. They talked about the EDRPG. This is something I wanted to bring up for Ty specifically. EDRPG, the original design, the large ships, they wanted to make it there. Said like, this doesn't make any sense that the medium ships would be like taking out the large ships. It just doesn't sort of jive in their head. So when they made the EDRPG, what they did was they had a modifier on it that any ships that were firing at large ships, all of their weapons just did less damage. And then in the end, because it was hard and complicated to like do the math or whatever, make it work, because they were doing this with tabletop, pencil and paper type thing and dice, they just changed it and said, screw it. They just greatly buffed the hulls of all of the large ships. So basically in that game, you're not going to be in a situation where the Fer-de-Lance has an advantage over the vet, because it's a different meta, and they treat it such that the large ships have to be treated with respect because they will destroy any of the medium ships. And I just thought that Ty would get a kick out of that, because I know that he has definite feelings with regard to the Corvette and the meta situation. So, all right. And then they did the Eddie Lay Wise here, that commercial that they do from time to time. And this is hilarious because it never occurred to me until I heard that commercial like a month ago, and it occurred to me for the very first time. Eddie Lay Wise, Edelweiss, Eddie Lay, the way Edelweiss says his name or writes his name, Eddie Lay Wise. And the commercial, the whole commercial, it's like, it's Edelweiss. He's a pervert. He's talking about like, get some nice bespoke tartans for your bum, something that hugs your bums or buns or whatever. He's like, I'm a whiz at inside leg. He's talking about copping feels on dudes. And at the end of the commercial, he's like, cough, please. Like he's literally grabbing guys' junks. It's Edelweiss. That's hilarious. And I can't believe I never got that. That's just, I don't know, whatever. I know it's dumb, but I laughed for a good while on that. Spider-Mind Games, they were talking about their Kickstarter Level Up campaign. Dude, they reached over 9,000% funded. That's 10 times their amount, and then 9 times that amount. They beat that. Like that's crazy. Hats off to you guys. As of officially, they rocked in at over $1 million earned. Those guys are now officially out of their day jobs and full-time Spider-Man game like geniuses that are now staring at a monster of stuff that they got to get out the door. But they sourced it all. They did it right, so they're going to be good to go. Congrats, hats off to you guys. You deserve everything that you got, especially after you were dealing with all that bullshit of they were being trolled by somebody for their Kickstarter where they were putting out an Elite Dangerous, a previous game with, I'm not sure, I forget the details if it was on the RPG, I think it was on the Battle Cards game. Some guy was just trolling them nonstop, even though FDev gave their blessing and was like, yeah, put this out. This is awesome. this guy was like saying, they're violating IP law. And so they like twice their sort of everything got kicked out from under them. So for these guys to come back and have a huge win like this is a beautiful thing.
Way to go.
Yeah. They talked about, there's another forum suggestion that's floating around from the evacuation squad, the guys that are doing the evacuation of the burning stations, and they have some very cool ideas on suggestions on how to make that the aspects of gameplay around that better and how to make it more sort of in the universe, and it's good stuff. Check out that it was a well-written forum post. I am retired from the forum, so I'm not getting involved. I'm not touching anything with a 10-foot pole, but it was well written, and hats off to them. And I also like, I'm just going to say this, the last thing on the forums thing. I like that this was written from the aspect of like, hey guys, we love your game. Here's some ideas on how we think it could be awesome too. Like, it wasn't like the standard forum bullshit of like, you suck and I hate you and you guys are a joke and blah, blah, blah. They were like, it was respectful and thoughtful. And hopefully we're going to start a wave of that. They talked about Tokoso, Commander Tokoso's new album that's out. That's awesome. And they talked about the fact that the Orion expedition checked in at waypoint 7. Commander Yannick is taking those people out. To be very, very clear, so there's no misunderstanding, that is not Commander the Yamix. That is Commander Yannick, who is a very prolific explorer and has led multiple expeditions. And they talked about the Commander Orange Phoenix Why We Fly video. Everybody is loving that thing. It is awesome. Go check it out at laveradio.com. Great show as always. And something interesting happened that we're going to talk about in just a moment during the Lave Radio show. But immediately following the Lave Radio show, Galnet News Digest dropped their 25th February 3306 by Commander Wotherspoon. He talks about the anti-Thargoid initiative. Basically, there's a war going on between two anti-Thargoid factions, and it's kind of hilarious. He talked about cock and balls at Cortez Bucky Ballers. So at Cortez base, the Bucky Ballers are doing the challenge that we discussed before, where you run out in a direction, turn around, and immediately run back in, which the shape that makes is somewhat like a sausage or a stick, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And then the race that the elite racers were doing,
It's a penis.
sort of at the base.
You heard it here first.
So apparently the geometry is a thing, and you can make interesting things with shapes, all the lols. And I have a Discord app that pulls up information. We call it information. Let's say a diagram of what those two races could make. Yeah. So okay. And there was
call it information.
Yeah, there was an interview with the Galnet reader voice, who is now unemployed, and she's very, very sad and would like Galnet to come back so that she can tell awesome stories. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers on this, but we had a Colin Ford's buttocks update. So check out that Galnet News Digest, because you got to know what's going on with Colin's hiney. All right. So during that episode of Lave Radio,
Who's throwing things?
that was me. It slipped out of my hand, a pen, and yeah. So during that awesome episode of Lave Radio, another awesome thing happened. I'm going to turn this over to Ty to introduce this one, because I think he's raring to go with it.
Man, I am so excited about this, and so the reason why is because me and Commander Cruel Rabbit, I consider him a bud in this game, and I hope I get to meet him very soon.
Just a bud? I've seen photographic evidence that you guys are very close.
Nope. Anyways, Commander Cool Rabbit. So for how do we know how long the bounty on Edelweiss has been going on?
This has been going for months.
Months.
It goes so far back that back when they started this, void opals were a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were worth something.
So there's been a bounty on killing Edelweiss during the stream for months now, and you get I can't remember how many tons of void opals, but you get a shit ton.
It's a lot
of void opals. And Cruel Rabbit loaded up his Python with beam lasers and with pack hounds, and snuck up on Edelweiss behind him and obliterated him. And then I'm not sure what the best part is the fact that Cruel Rabbit got the kill, or the fact that Kai wrote a song about it. I'm not sure which.
Plus his commentary, his own self-commentary was priceless.
Rabbit's commentary as he's going out there, he's talking like, well, a mission's a mission, and Rabbit's got to get paid. That was hilarious. Also, this was just a perfect storm of events. It might have been a situation that Edelweiss might have done more, except for the fact. I mean, who knows? We'll never know it unless somebody just keeps killing Edelweiss over and over. So Colin Ford was out, and Edelweiss was sitting in the director's chair. He was the host, the main host. So he literally, as he explained it to me, he was like, he had multiple screens going, and I don't know what he was doing, but he was like trying to keep the show going. And it's mid-show, and they're talking about an interview, and they're talking about what's going on, and they've got commercial breaks. And if you've ever been in the Lave Radio broadcast recording booth, as Ty and I have, and actually Trax has as well, all three of us sort of at different times, but and you hear as things are going on with the show, like there's literally people off air that are just producing, that they're like, we're back from commercial in 5, 4, 3. It's like a whole professional. It's not like our thing.
It's like a TV production, or like a scheduled production.
It's crazy. So he's running all of that, and he's getting like feedback notes, and he's getting stuff on the levels and whatever. And while that's happening and he's got to hold down the fort, Rabbit just shows up and destroys him. And it was hilarious. And then so today, while I'm driving around at work, it won't leave my head. That Edelweiss, that song is in my head, and I start making up stupid lyrics to it, and that happened.
So I do have one critique of Rabbit, though. Man, you gotta throw some pips on your web when you're shooting those beams, man.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't thinking about efficient murder boating, but hey, got the job done, didn't it?
Right.
I think what he was doing there was he was literally spinning his head around on a swivel, like, where are the cops? Where are the cops? What's coming? What's whatever?
Yeah.
And but it was hilarious. It was all in good fun. Edelweiss came immediately onto the Discord and was like, as soon as their show was done, and was congratulating Rabbit, and there was hilarity, and it was funny. The Lave Radio guys took pictures and had stuff up on their thing, which then Wotherspoon doctored up to like put on the loading screen of the game, like in Steam or whatever, when you load the game. This story is not done. I have a feeling that come next Tuesday, we're going to hear a little more about the revenge of the Rabbit.
Side note here, I think that we might have to make Rabbit the commander for March, because he killed Edelweiss during the stream. I'm just saying. So
that'll be an extremely explicit episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be the Loose Screws podcast after dark, where we're gonna tell everyone, do not play this in public.
I didn't say you should have him on the air. I just said.
Oh, well, I mean, whatever, man.
I mean, I'm not. I'm not saying no either. I'm just saying, we'll have to think about it. So,
all right.
So, do you guys have anything else other than can we all give Rabbit a big 07 and a big for the mug?
I'll go 07, but I think blowing someone up is not really for the mug. So,
you know what? You make a good point there. Well, let's just give him the 07. All right.
07, way to go.
All right.
So rolling along, the next video we have is from Astro Geeks. Again, this is a real world video. So this is visiting Saturn, J1407 Bravo. This is a real world astronomy video. It's a planet 460 light years from Sol. And this is, quote, the Lord of the Rings. It has a ring system so wide that if Saturn's rings were replaced with it, it would easily be visible from Earth and several times larger than the moon and bright. Right in the midday sky, brighter than the moon. I'm definitely going to go take a look for this in game and find out this system and whatever. This video, check it out. It's a couple minutes long, but they actually have a mock-up of what, like how big the rings are on here and like what it would look like. There's a mock-up where they use computer graphics or whatever, and they made CGI. They made what this would look like on a random day. And I saw it and I was like, holy shit, that's Star Wars, bro. You're living in Star Wars. This video is super, super. Astro Geeks are very, very awesome. It's ASTROGEEKZ. Go subscribe to their stuff because they have all neat planets and stuff. And I'm going to use this as one of my sort of out of game resources that turn me on to cool shit to go look for in game in the galaxy. And on that line, I literally started from there, use that as the impetus to go do some research. And I found a very cool in-game Elite Dangerous video from Macros Black, who I had never heard of before, I'm going to admit, but I have now subscribed and I am super excited. He's got this gigantic ring in system SWOIPHS space RL space or RL-J space D10-47. This is a system with 37.4 million kilometer ring radius. And you get to see him fly up to it and just lots of interesting, neat shit. And it's like, man, I love asteroid rings. And when you see something, I love when you see like a water world or a Earth-like world with a ringed Earth-like world, or every once in a blue moon, you see those ringed stars where it's like, that's a star with a ring. That's amazing. This one is just like a massive ring and it's awesome. So go check that out in game. Go check out Astro Geeks for real life astronomy shit and cool stuff, and use that and go find stuff on YouTube, man. Go find like neat stuff that astronomy people are finding where they're like, hey, there's this weird binary star here or whatever. Then do some little legwork, cross-reference it, find it in game, and go out there and explore, man. David Braben and Frontier Development gave us an awesome galaxy to play in. And Dr. K. Ross, much love to Dr. K. Ross, gave us a beautiful Stellar Forge. And it's just so much here. Use everything. Use stuff out of game and go look for stuff in game. And maybe it's there and maybe it's not. And who knows, whatever. But like, go out there and play in this sandbox. So Down to Earth Astronomy put out his Tuesday stream, multi-stop route planner for for eliteguides.info. So he was doing programming on his, he's got this really cool thing where it's like, oh, I got to hit up these 8 places, or I got to hit up, engineering for this ship. And then you just click, I'm going to go to this engineer, this engineer, this engineer. And it'll tell you like, oh, this is the best way to do it. This is the most efficient way to do it. I think that's amazing. I can't wait for that. His eliteguides.info is, this site he's been working on for a while, and I can't wait for it to come out. Also, during that programming thing, it's also he's just having conversations about general stuff, what's going on in Elite Dangerous, and it's good stuff. Which brings us to Wednesday, yesterday, February 26th. Obsidian Ant put out his 3306 series video. He talked about the charity live stream. He talked about the cool 3D printed ships and newly released concept art. So there was some cool concept art that was released when they hit like all of these different goals, like X amount of that, like every $1,000 they would release something new, some whatever. And they released 2 concept art pictures on the Mamba. One was a nifty external shot that, looked cool because Mambas look cool. And one was a very cool internal shot of the Mamba that has got people, it's talking about, it shows a cool spot of inside the internals. And it has people talking about like, oh, this is a space leg picture. This is definitely something about space legs. This is super, super interesting. I got to find out more about this. He also talked about that Panther Clipper fan art thing that we talked about a little bit ago and the Tokoso album. So go check out his video. Amazing video. As always, love Obsidian Ant. Haxcom last night. They did their big event, the Papa Clops. It happened last night at 9 o'clock to midnight, Texas time. And yeah, man, people that were out there had some fun and learned, how to help defend humanity against the Thargoids. I'm going to throw this out there real quick because I know there's some people out there that are like, man, I like the Thargoids. I'm, against whatever. I think we're being murderous and whatever. I got to say, I agree with you. I do think that like there's some shady shit in our history in game, and I don't feel that it all adds up. And I feel like we are the aggressor. I've said it. Ty said it. I feel like to a certain extent, we were the aggressor, or whoever the club or whoever's pulling strings at one point in time, whether it's INRA or the club or, the federation or whatever. I'm not saying we're the good guys in this situation, but we're on the team that we're on, and there's no swapping sides. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I 100% agree that in lore, there's a lot to make you think. Malik VR's got that great series of tweets, and he goes through a lot of stuff and breaks down how, like, man, the history is not what they're telling you. And I agree. But at the same time, we are where we are, and I'm on Team People. So I'm not in any way dismissive of those people that keep pointing out, like, man, we're on the wrong side of this. Like, yeah, I agree, but here's where you're at. This is what we're doing. So, all right. Down to Earth Astronomy Wednesday put out a very cool video. The Crate and the Clipper cockpit tour in VR chat. It's a fan-made export. It's a 6-minute long little video. They have this thing where somebody took and captured all of the stuff in the cockpit, and you get to walk around in VR mode and really get a good look at lots of stuff that you don't normally get to see. It's very, very cool. Go check it out. Which brings us to today, the Thursday recording day. Commander Burr, his Thursday Breakfast Club. So first off, thanks to Trax explaining to me that I was a moron before, I actually was able to find where the thing is in the Twitch and the stored videos. And so now I see what it is. He was engineering his Conda, and he's rocking that Galnet paint job. Much love to Commander Burr. And just talking about everything like as he does. It's a good long video, couple hours. Go check it out. And I hope that him and Rini are doing well, especially I know he's starting to get over his cold. He still had it a bit, and Rini's just getting it now. And yeah, man, hope you're feeling better soon. And I cannot wait to talk to you this weekend. All right, Obsidian Ant dropped his video, New Moons with Improved Tech plus Player Stats. This is a Star Citizen video, 8 minutes long. Check it out. It's very, very cool stuff. It's super, super exciting. It looks great. Just talk about the character, talk about these moons, showed off amazing stuff. It all looks great. I'm super, super excited. I am so excited for Star Citizen. I hope that someday that actually becomes a game. It's not one right now, but I hope that someday it becomes one.
With the character.
Yeah, of course, with the character. Yeah, I said that for sure. Okay. FDev skipped their Thursday stream because, people are still recovering from their, 24-hour live stream things. Everybody's just kind of taking it chill this week. Look for a big announcement next week. Just look for something big coming next week. That's all I'm saying. And lastly, with regard, not quite lastly, the second to the last. Nope, not even second to the last. All right, never mind. Radio Sidewinder. I linked their website, Radio Sidewinder. It's just www.radiosidewinder.com/listen-now/. So Commander Fee came over to us and said, like, hey, I'm from Radio Sidewinder. And I was like, wow, they're starting that up again. I'm super, super excited because I love the old radio Sidewinders. There haven't been one for a couple of years, but I dig that. And he's like, no, man, we never stop. We're still going. And I was like, you got to get me into your Discord. So he got me into their Discord, and I found out that it's like, yeah, no, we're still live streaming. Here's the thing. It's not the talk show anymore. It's now a radio program. And the radio program is mostly sort of digital, electronica, sort of spacey themed music with little sort of interspersed skits or commercials or whatever you want to call it that's on the sort of Elite Dangerous theme stuff, like I'm doing my part for the Alliance, or hey, Lakon Spaceways. Well, that's the trucker thing, but never mind. Just stuff in game. They do commercials. They do neat stuff. It's interesting. So I have a link to their website. I have a link to their Discord. I'm going to say this as just a warning to anybody who wants to go over there. Definitely go check them out. Their radio stuff is awesome. Their Discord is awesome. Good people, nice stuff. I talked to the guy, the administrator who runs their Discord, and said like, hey man, I dig your stuff. This is awesome. Here's our Discord information. Here's our show. And I just dropped like I do. I was like, here's the link. You can check out our show. The guy listened to our most recent show and was like, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't enjoy this. I don't like this. We are a, family friendly, PG rated, G rated, I don't know, whatever site where we don't like strong language or this, that, and the other. For anyone who's just listened to this episode, you've heard, a dozen F-bombs or different whatever. We're an adult show and we don't edit ourselves. We just say whatever. We're not going out of our way to be raunchy or off color, but we're definitely not G-rated or PG-rated, and that's okay, man. Like, not everybody has to like what we do, but just because that particular guy that runs their thing doesn't like our thing, that's completely fine. Your taste may vary, your mileage may vary, but I still like his thing, so I wanted to put it out there. But I'm definitely warning anyone that goes there. Obviously, you can listen to the radio, no problem. It's good stuff. It's good electronica stuff, and I like the little skits and interstitials or whatever you want to call them. But if you go over to their Discord, please, please, please keep in mind they are a all family-friendly group, and just watch your P's and Q's, watch the language, make sure there's no memes that are in any way spicy. Just keep it very, very G-rated over there. It's a good stuff. Dude, I'm still in there. I'm still in their Discord. I like their stuff. And like I said, you don't have to be a fan of mine for me to be a fan of yours. I like their stuff. It's awesome. Go check them out. Give them some love. It's really, really good stuff. So there you go. But just keep in mind that it is G-rated. So handle yourself accordingly. Space.com put out an awesome Star Trek article. Picard beams up its best episode yet in episode 6. This just dropped a couple hours ago. No spoilers at all. In my explanation of this, I'm just going to say Picard episode 6. It's really, 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 really good. So, everybody is super, super happy and super excited because the stuff that sort of was building and building and building is now starting to be awesome and pay off, and neat stuff is happening. So do not click on that article until after you've seen it. And then once you've seen it, then go click on that article and bask in its glory, but don't spoil yourself unless that's what you want to do. We've got... This is a refresher course that I just put together. Jumping the Neutron Highway refresher course. We've got 3 things here. First, we've got an exegesis video guide that is an amazing top to bottom. This is what you need to know for neutron star jumps and working that highway. Then we've got Deep Space Network full guide. If you go to that to the link there, you're going to see a full-on, it's a website guide that shows you step by step with written instructions, then a graph, and then more, then a diagram, and it's going to walk you through the whole process top to bottom. And lastly, we've got the MagSet graph reminder checklist. It's just a 1-page little sort of graph that it's like, okay, do this like this, do not do that like that. And it's neat stuff. And I like the little, in the bottom, in the corner there's like this fine print, and it's like, we're not responsible responsible for anything you do. Consult your doctor before you go into a jet cone. Blah, 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 blah. It's hilarious. It's neat. Between these three things, between the video guide that's going to show you the whole thing, the step-by-step guide that's going to answer any questions that you maybe missed in the video because, whatever, something just didn't sink in right, and the graph, between these three things, this is everything you need to know as your starter kit to get jumping down that neutron highway safely. And they explain like, hey, here's why you're going to need an AFMU. Here's why you're going to need this. Here's why you're going to need that. It's good stuff, so check it out. And today's Hutton Orbital Radio, I'm going to wait to cover it fully until next week because I always like to do the Hutton thing. It's the first thing that I do for the week for starting next week. But I'm just going to say this real quick. See, real quick. Other people say it too. Powerful people. Cruella de Vil. Zermina Torval. Wotherspoon hitting it out of the park. Amazing stuff. And all I'm going to say is lips puckered like an anus. Wotherspoon, you went there. Hats off, my friend. You are a savage. And also at the end of this Hutton Orbital Radio, Wotherspoon just did a full-on commercial for Loose Screws podcast that was amazing. And I love the Hutton Truckers. And if even just one or two people from the Hutton Truckers more than already in our group start to come to our group and we start to cross-pollinate with them, nothing would make me more happy because I think, honestly, the Hutton Truckers are like, they're heroes for me because they're player with player, PWP. They're finding the good in all things and they're just killing it. Psycho Cow, from Psycho Cow to, Flossie to Vinteon to, Ventura, everybody over there, just all of them. Love you guys all and love Wotherspoon for spreading the love, man. Good stuff. And that is the end of Elite Week. Now all we got left is the Thargoid report. You guys ready for the home stretch?
Where are those bugs at?
All right. Here's where the bugs are at. Well, the bugs aren't. It's quiet on the front. So with the final incursion cleared in the Witch Head and Pleiades nebulas are quiet once again. Thargoids can still be found throughout the region, but the coordinated attacks are nowhere to be seen. And the Eagle Eye Network continues to broadcast the same 6 uninhabited systems for the past 4 weeks, and we are yet to see another wave of incursions begin. Remain vigilant. We cannot be sure that the next strike may occur at any moment, though we may be staring at another drought. So, new incursions? None. New infestations? None. Well, technically that's a lie. There's 6 new infestations, but they're all uninhabited systems, so that doesn't mean anything. So if
those
you wanna
can't
go
turn
out,
into incursion?
they cannot, because you can't have an incursion without a population.
Right. Okay.
Because the incursion is literally just burning stations. Well, there is no stations there, so yeah. So, go out there and fight. These for the 8 months that nothing was happening with the Thargoids, these are the 6 systems that were listed as constantly incursions every week, even though we didn't see Thargoids at all anywhere. So if you're looking to go out there and do some AXI killing for rep grind or whatever, you can still go out in the Pleiades and Witch Head and you can find them, but the special conflict zones are not popping. There's no burning stations. Now's a good time to work on exploration, to work on rep, to work on, some other project or get to buckyball racing because, who doesn't want to get those skills? And let's see how to get involved. Obviously, same as always. I've got the Anti-Xeno Initiative Discord, the Anti-Xeno Knowledge Base, the Post-Disaster Evacuation Service Discord. Those are the guys that did that forum post about how to make that better. The Operation Ida website and Discord. They're on there. They're just as hyperlinks in the thing, so you don't see them as a link. They're just highlighted. But when you click on them in the show notes, it should, shoot you right over to the website or whatever for those.
All right. So, yeah, man, we're going to wrap it up. This has gone way, way too long already. So we're going to say that we're going to skip the content creator for this week. And we're going to wrap it up saying that this weekend, we're going to be interviewing
Burr and Rini. I think that Trax is unable to make it because of a family commitment, but we've got Ty and I will be.
But yeah.
Yeah, Ty and I will be interviewing Burr and Rini, and this is definitely one we've been looking forward to a while. I'm not going to spoil the one that's coming after that, but there's more good stuff to come, so stay tuned. I am out, my good man.
So I got two quick things here that I want to add in, and one of them is not real quick, but it needs to be said. One, the Baldur's Larian Studios released the Baldur's Gate 3 intro and some playthrough today. Go to YouTube and check that out. I am super excited about this game. It's like the only other game I'm super excited about besides Elite. So. The other thing is a bit of a somber note, but I do need to say it, is that on February 25th, a bit of a video game legend passed. And not a bit, I mean, this is a straight up video game legend passed. That is, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation, so please forgive me, as Kazuhisa Hashimoto. And he is a Japanese game developer, worked mostly for Konami. But he worked on Gradius, Legend of the Mystical Ninja. He worked on the conversion of Track and Field. He worked on a bunch of their coin op stuff. But the main thing he is remembered for is the infamous Konami code. You know, the up, down, left, right, BA start. Yeah. He invented that. And he invented it because he actually... when he was working on Gradius, he knew he wasn't good enough to actually beat the game. So he threw in the code as a way to power up the ship so that he could get through certain things. And he intended to take it out, but because of some miscommunication, because back then they were actually programming, the actual boards and then shipping
right
them
onto the chips.
Right. But because of a miscommunication, it got released with it. And then because players discovered it and liked it, how the hell they discovered it, I'll never know. But players discovered it, liked it, Konami ended up including it in all their games. So, man, I've used that code so many times because I'm a cheater on single player games. So, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that before we took out.
For sure.
I remember tons of hours on Gradius when I was a kid. My brother too.
Man. Hell yeah. But I think that's about all we got. Y'all have anything else we need to wrap it up with here?
I just want to say that if you too want to join in the fun, you can hit us up at tinyurl.com/loose screws podcast for the Discord. You can check out our site on any of the other ways to get it from anchor.fm/loose screws. In case you're looking for another way to get it. You've got Twitter, you've got loose screws ed. You've got at Tyrvol, TYRVOL, and at Kai19103. And if you want to email in, loosescrewsquestions@gmail.com. And our YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/channel/a bunch of random shit that is going to be actually in the show notes, obviously. But you can just go to Ty, hit them up with that beautiful website.
loosescrewsed.com, and then the contact page has all of our links on there.
For sure.
But I think that's going to take us out. I don't have anything else. So let's wrap it up. Kai, do your thing, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, be excellent to each other. And just remember why we fly.
Well done. Good night.
Trax, thanks for joining us this evening. Kai, thanks again for everything you do. I will see you guys next time.
Successful. Engines disengaged.
see.